Kimberly. I know Kimberly's name. Cordelia. And I got kicked off. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh. Hello, Rachel and Sarah. So, you guys, oh my God, we have like three generations there. We have round four with Sarah in Dan's box, and we have round five with Allison behind, and we saw Dan's shoulder. And then we have Rachel round six. So it's like good Dan's box. Sarah, Rachel,
Hey, that's so
Allison,
cool.
and Dan. So fun.
That's awesome.
You guys, we're gonna get started in just a minute. There's always like a good and I get everyone on. Make sure you guys understand where your cameras are. Vicky, your glasses are amazing. Um, oh, Laura's at the English Hotel. Laura, how is that? How's that shower? Okay, so before we're going to get moving in just a second, let me look at my run of show because I get really excited and I'm dying to move. Okay. Um, all right. So, okay, guys, so here's what's going to happen. Today, the next 3 days are going to be a lot of information. First, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I know we said this on the kickoff call, but like truly, 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 we are so, so happy that you're here. Heather, do you see Sue on your screen to add in? Just want to make sure you're seeing.
I
Okay.
already did it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so I want to introduce someone really quickly. I'm going to bring Heather on just real quick. So today's today's assistant is the amazing Heather. She is from round two. She is so fabulous. You guys will get to know her not just throughout the 9 months as she helps and assists here, but also when you graduate. She is one of the amazing humans in the alumni group, and truly, when we say that eLevate grows because of you guys, like it's because of people like you, like Heather, who have these amazing questions and wonders, not just about the exercises, about what they're learning, that have helped us cultivate this. And so, because we have two groups this year, I talked with Heather and I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea of like someone just being there to make sure that like all the kittens are herded and on the teaching, and like you could also be watching, and so she and I brainstormed it together, and that's why she's helping us kick this off. So Heather is like going to be the Zoom person with me, and so thank you, Heather, for dedicating your Friday morning with us so that they could all have an amazing experience. If Heather chats with you guys in a little DM or in the chat group, it is just to kind of like keep the order of things. So we have PM people on this call and we have the AM people on the call. And this is something new for us. And so what's really, really important is that in the AM group, time slot, the AM group people are the priorities. So if you're the PM person and you're like, but I won't be here later, ask my question, you get to write it down. You get to write your question down and you get to ask it tomorrow. Or you get to, I know that that sounds really harsh, but the reality is oftentimes your question gets answered by the group itself. And also the other thing is like sometimes it just gets answered in the weekend, and we do have those Q&A calls. So I'm not ignoring you. You do have priority just in your group time zone. And the same goes AM people, you can watch the PM group, you'll just be camera off as well. So if you come on and your camera's on and Heather turns it off, you don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We don't think you're an asshole. We know it's an accident. So just no apologies necessary. Okay. All right, Heather, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just actually, yeah, enjoy it. It's awesome. It's going to be an amazing experience, and I hope you all had a fantastic time. I'm
Thank
envious
you.
you're doing it.
I know it's like sometimes you want to do it again. Well, thank you. Thank you, Heather. Okay, so what's going to happen today is we are going to go through the mat work. We're going to do a mat workout together. Um, I'm going to work out with you guys for this first one because I got to warm my body up as well. Then we're going to do some talks about spine shapes. We're going to talk about the talk less, teach more concept. We are going to also go over the mat exercises. And I know you guys filled out your sheets. Thank you so much. Um, if you ask questions on those sheets and you're wondering why I'm not addressing them right in that moment, it's because what I tend to do is make sure that I go through everything and then go back to the questions and see where I possibly could have like go deeper or if you still have that question. So I like to see what your questions are ahead of time just so that I can prepare and see where your head's at. But so please, it's okay to re-bring them back up. You are also allowed to ask all the questions you want, especially when we're going through the exercises. So please don't be quiet or also don't wait for people to ask a question. Right? Like sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to be the first person. I don't want to always be the first person asking a question. Oh, I asked questions the last three exercises. Like, if that's how you learn, ask the question. Okay. So it's really important that you honor your learning style. We try to figure out all of them through this medium and it's not going to be perfect. And so part of elevating is you understanding what your needs are and advocating for those so that we can assist you. Okay. So with that said, we're going to do the mat workout. It's very important to me that you do not try to impress me. One, I'm not looking at the camera. I can't see you. Two, two, if you are not moving with us today, even if you are in the AM group, please go camera off for the workout so that only people on the screen have their cameras on. So when people are watching the recordings, they can just see the movers and they can learn from the movement. Okay. So if you are doing the movement, but you're skipping exercises, leave your camera on. It's totally fine. Do not do exercises that are not right for your body at all. Do not perform for me. Do not perform for each other. That isn't impressive and it's not going to help you elevate. Okay. If you have questions about the exercises in the workout is not the time, write them down. Just make a mental note, write it down, rejoin us back when you got it. Okay. So with that said, all right, I'm going to turn this camera off, but I'm going to stay unmuted, Heather, so that my studio camera is working. Okay. Very cool, guys. So you'll need for this workout is you'll need a mat and a dowel. And I got you a dowel there. Yeah. And you can also, if you want to work on the Cadillac, you can just don't hit the phone, but you can also use this lovely mat and you can be right here if you want. Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right, loves. Let's move. Let's get some movement in. So if you can start at the top of your mat, standing, that's great. If you have any issues with that, you just need to get on the ground. That's totally fine. One arm over the other, one leg over the other, and then roll all the way down. Oh, and then somehow get to the mat. Oh, I had a little crash. I'm a little tight today. Take your arms overhead and notice how far back your arms can go and do like a big good morning stretch. So this is where your ribs pop off, your butt sticks out. You might flex your feet, right? And then take your arms to the ceiling and let your low ribs take up space on mat. Take your arms overhead only as far, so like by your ears, as your low ribs can stay on the mat. Hug your legs together, squeeze your heels together. Take a deep breath in, exhale up into your 100. You can leave the legs down if you want. You can take the legs as high as you want and just breathe. And I'm not going to give you a ton of cues in this exercise. I just want you to focus on inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. And we'll try to get to 10 breaths. Last one. Lower the legs, flex the ankles, take the head up or onto the floor and grab a pole if you have one. If you don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. If you've got a pole, hold it as wide as you can and take it overhead as far as your ribs can stay on the mat and flex your ankles. Take an inhale, up, exhale on the hardest part and pulse forward 3 times. 1, 2, 3. If you've got a strap, I highly recommend using it. Roll down. And again, up and over, squeeze those legs together, pulse 1, 2, 3, and roll back. 2 more. We're going to go into the rollover after this. If you do not do overhead exercises or you don't know it, just keep doing the roll up. There is a lot that comes with repeating the roll up for stamina and strength. So if you have handles, your hands will go into them. If you don't, they'll go down by your side. And we'll take the legs overhead with pointed feet, flex the ankles, open the legs, and point the toes and roll down. Circle the legs together only as low as you can control it and take the legs overhead. Big stretch of the back, flex the ankles, open the legs, point the toes, and roll it down. Circle the legs together, take them over, flex, open, point, and roll it down in reverse. So you're going to open the legs with pointed feet, go over, flex the ankles, squeeze, point the toes to roll down, open the legs, go over, pointed feet, flex the ankles, point the toes when the legs are together, and lower it down. Leave your right leg in the sky, take your left leg to the mat. Flex your left ankle, point your right. Circle the leg across your body, around and up. A single leg circle. We'll just do 3 in each direction today. If this is faster than you like to move, that's an observation to have. But also, what do you get out of it? Switch the legs. So point the left foot, flex the right ankle. And again, across the body and around and up 3 times and then reverse. All right, lower that left leg down. Take the arms up, roll it up, bend your knees in, rolling like a ball. So grab where you can on your shins, push your legs into your hands, and pull on your shins with your arms from your upper back. Rock back to your shoulders and up balance without your feet touching. 3 more. Rock back and lift it up. And again, rock back and lift. Hold. So fancy transition time. Grab your left shin with your right hand and your left ankle with your left hand. Stretch your right leg out. And then with your right foot in line with your eyes, roll your body down to the shoulder tips without moving that right leg. And pull on this left leg 2 times. 1, 2, switch, 1, 2. Pull, 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 pull. If you need a break during the ab series, please take it. I'm not going to give it. Heels together, toes apart, double leg stretch. Pull 2 times. 1, 2. Reach the arms and legs away. Circle the arms around, pull, pull, reach. Circle around, pull, reach. Circle it around, pull, reach. And then single straight leg stretch. Lift the legs up, grab as high as you can. Pull on that ankle, 1, 2, switch. 1, 2. So I'm pushing my leg into my hand as I pull on it from my upper back. All right, double straight leg stretch. Interlace the hands behind your head. Squeeze the legs together. Lower the legs and lift. And lower and lift. 1 more. Bring the knees into your chest. 1 knee in, 1 leg out. Curl up armpit to knee. Switch. Take a second. Don't switch before I say. Curl up a little higher. Pull that knee in a little bit more and switch. Pull that knee in a little bit more. Armpit to knee and switch. And switch. And switch. Woo! Come all the way up. Spine stretch forward. Take your legs as wide as your mat. Sit up tall, hands between your legs. And then notice if you're sitting on the front of your sit bones or the back of your sit bones, or if you can get on them. And then round forward and pulse. 1, 2, 3. Lift up. And round forward only as much as your tailbone reaches straight down. So you're not going to get past your feet probably. And push those hands into the mat as you slide to help lift your low ribs in the front. 1 more. If you're skipping open leg rocker, you can repeat this or do rolling like a ball. Point the ankles. Either bend the knees and grab the ankles or lift the legs to you. Grab the front of the ankles. If your knees have to be bent, that's okay, but straight elbows. rock it back, and lift it up. And lift your hips to the ceiling. Sometimes we get obsessed with getting our head back, but lift your hips up. And then stay up and squeeze the legs together. Push them apart. Squeeze them together. Push them apart. Squeeze together. Hold. Flex the ankles. Grab your toes or reach for your toes. If you can't touch your toes without hanging off your shoulders, reach for them. And if you're reaching for them, you rock back, reaching for them, and you rock up and you reach for them. You try to keep the space the same. Otherwise, you rock back, holding the toes, and you rock up. Two more. Last one. All right, point the feet. Roll your upper body down for corkscrew. Legs go up to the sky. Now, if you've got handles, you use them. If you don't, arms by your side. You can leave the hips down or take them up. I'll do one in both ways, right? So with the hips down, you take your legs to the right, circle the legs around to the left, come to center and go left around to the right. And if you're going to roll up on your shoulders, you do that in the center, then you roll part way down and then take your legs to the right, around to the left and up. And then you go part way down, circle around to the left, to the right, and up. Let's do one more time. Whichever way, hips down or up. It really kind of depends on your body each day. All right, then we come up. Take your legs wider than your mat. Take your arms wide to the side. Again, sit on the sit bones and then twist to the right and round forward and pulse 1, 2, 3. Roll up in the twist. Unwind, twist, and around. 1, 2, 3. Roll up, unwind. So when you twist, you only go as far as your opposite hip can stay down. When you roll up, you're still twisted. Then you unwind, and then you twist, and you round. Oh. Awesome. Let's flip onto our stomachs. So a little swan prep first. Take your hands, layer them one on top of the other, and then put your forehead on your hands. Then double check that your feet are parallel. They might even be a little internally rotated, but you want your inner thighs, right, to lift up, which means it feels pigeon-toed in those femurs, just so you can get more space in your lower back. Reach your tailbone down. Then lift your hands, head, and chest up. If your feet lifted, that's not what we wanted. Push the feet down, reach the tailbone down, and then just the hands, head, chest come up. And they might not even lift very far. And again, lift. One more. Lift. You can stick with that if that's hard for you, right? If you feel like you push your lower back down to lift up, play with that some more. Otherwise, take your hands in line with your shoulders. If you have handles, they'll go on them. If you don't, just take them underneath your shoulders and wider. And lift your lift your head and chest forward and then lower back down. Now, if your legs are sliding, it's because you're kind of pushing back. So use your hands to pull your heart forward. All right, and then you can repeat that or lift your chest, send the arms out wide, lift the legs, drop catch. Shoot the arms out wide, lift the legs. And you can stick with that, or you can swan dive 3 times. And then sit back, doze pose, head towards your knees, lift your stomach, reach back for your legs. And then slide out onto your forearms for single leg kick. So without rounding your back, right, because we tend to kind of puff up, pull your heart forward and then lift your stomach up. Might still be touching the mat, but you want that energy up. And then kick 1, 2, and kick 1, 2, and kick 1, 2, and 1, 2. One more time each side. Double leg kick. So look to one side, take your hands high up on your back, let the elbows drape. Reach the tailbone nice and long, and then kick your feet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Push the feet down, lift the arms up. Lower, look the other way. Kick 1, 2, 3. Push the feet down, lift the arms up. And again, 2, 3, lift. And 1, 2, 3, lift. Take your hands, push back, sit back, nice little counter stretch. So you'll notice after every extension, Joe gives us or have us do an active static stretch, right? All right, thigh stretch. You'll need your pole if you have it. Your knees and feet are fist distance apart, hips are over your knees, and then arms up to the sky. Now lower the arms to lean back and lift the arms to come up. So arms move from your back, lower the arms to lean back, lift the arms to come up. Woo. And again, we're not sitting back, right? So the booty doesn't go first, the thighs move. Awesome. Put that away. We're going to do neck pull. If roll up's a struggle for you, feel free to repeat it. Good luck, Sally Joe. You don't have a strap. Here we go. I should have grabbed you a magic circle, babe. Next time. Okay. So feet are hips distance apart. Hands are interlaced behind your head. Dig your heels down and then really feel those low ribs take up space. All right. If you start an extension, that's first of all not part of the exercise and doesn't help you. So find that tall back. Then take an inhale here to lift the head and chest. Exhale over the legs and pulse 1, 2, 3. Sit tall. And then don't hinge. That's what a lot of people like to do. Just lift up tall and pull your stomach back. And reach your heels away and pull your stomach back. And reach the heels away and pull your stomach back. Tap as far as you can go. And then come back over the legs. And pulse 1, 2, 3. Lift tall. And then see how high you can be as you pull your waist back. 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 And one more. Round over the legs. Pulse 1, 2, 3. Lift. And then pull the waist back. Dig the heels. Awesome. So high scissors and high bicycle are next. If that's not in your practice, repeat something that was a challenge for you. All right, this is a really good test for you. Or you can do single straight leg stretch, and you can do double straight leg stretch. That will help. Okay, here we go. We take the elbows into the mat, palms face you, look to the ceiling so you're not smashing your neck down. Bring the knees into your chest and roll the hips up. Take the legs over the hips, right? So the toes are over your hips, not your eyes. Now leave your right foot over your hip as your left foot moves away from your face and bring it back up. And then the left foot stays over the hip as the right foot reaches. And then you reach. So we are not making the splits here. It's like you're walking on sunshine, walking on the ceiling. Then you reach your right leg so much, it starts to bend and pull into a bicycle. And then you start to reach one leg away as one leg bends. And you're just reaching, you're trying to scrape the mat. Your head has to be on the mat. So look at the ceiling, reverse and reach and feel that single leg kick, that double leg kick in the back of your legs. Then both legs up, turn the hands to the side, bend the knees, and then thigh stretch down into a shoulder bridge. Now, if your medius here in shoulder bridge, your arms can be down by your side, or your hands, if you have the flexibility, are under your hips, helping your pelvis reach towards your knees. Slide one leg out, point the foot up, flex the foot, lower the straight leg down. Point, lift, flex, lower. Point up, flex down, slide the foot in, slide the other foot out, point it up, flex it down. Point, lift, flex it down. Point up, flex, slide it down, and take your hands out and roll your back down. Woo, awesome. Okay, sit on up for spine twist. Squeeze your legs together. Take your arms wide to the side. All right, double check. You're in the front of your sit bones or on them. Then twist to the right. 2, 3, and unwind and twist left. 2, 3, and unwind and twist. 2, 3, and twist. 2, 3. Last time each way. All right, jackknife. So take your hands into your handles, or legs are going to go, sorry, or arms are down by your side. So then legs can start low or they can start up. You know your body. Take your legs overhead, parallel to the floor, then up over your eyeballs. Then leave your toes over your eyeballs as you roll your back down, 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 lower the legs. Again, they go over, up. There's a bit of zest there. And then you slow it down and take your time here. And then lower. One more time. Over, up, and then reach, and reach, and reach, and lower it down. Amazing. All right. Side kicks. Lie on one side. Elbow in line with shoulder, feet at the front edge. Take length here. So because of my hip to rib ratio, sometimes I have space here, but that doesn't mean you have to. Okay. You're just not hanging out with the hip height, right? Top hand is here in front of you or behind your head. Point the top foot, kick it forward, 1, 2, and kick it back, 1, 2. So it's just forward, then a little bit back, then forward. It's back, a little forward, back, front, back, right? All right, top leg over the bottom leg, turn it out, point, kick it up, flex, squeeze it down. Point up, flex, squeeze it down. So it can go as high as your hip doesn't hike, which for some of us is not impressive. Okay. And then take the leg back as far as you can without leaning your chest forward and draw little circles. And then reverse. And then bring the legs together. Circle the leg forward, up, back, and around. Big circle. So you're just connecting the dots. Kick to the front, right? Up where you had the up, down, to the back, and then around. Squeeze the heels together, and one more. Then reverse, up and around, up and around, up and around. Rest. We're going to switch sides. Do something for the recording. Okay, here we go. So if you have moon boxes, they are wonderful because your legs can go off the mat but still be in line with your body, right? Then you'll take yourself and take your top foot, point it, kick to the front, 1, 2, and kick to the back. 1, 2 to the front and to the back. You'll get to notice which of your sides is stronger. And then top leg is going to turn out, point it up, reach it down. And that second up is sometimes just a thought, right? Because we don't want to hike it from our hip flexor. And then reach it back and draw those little circles. They're swift. Just a few in each direction. And then bring your legs together. Forward, up, back, and around. 1, forward, up, back, and around. 2, and 3. Reverse. Reach it back, up, and around. Woo! Back up and around. And okay. Teaser. So you can roll like a ball, right? You can do anything that was a challenge for you, or you repeat the teaser that's right for your body right now. So lying on your back. We're back to where we were for the 100. Take your arms overhead. And then take a deep breath in. Exhale up. So toes in line with eyes. Lift your arms from your back like your thigh stretch. And roll your upper back down. Try to touch your arms before your head. And then roll back up. So legs stay at eye level. And they just where your eyes were when you were sitting up there. So they just are hovering up there and you come back up. One more. Leave those legs there. Just the upper body goes back. And then hold it. Lower the legs and lift the legs. 3 times. And then everything down, everything up, everything down, everything up. One more. Take the arms back. Okay, we'll take a second. So ideally we just transition, but it's kind of mean if you're not used to it. So hip circles. Hands are behind you on your mat, but if you need to, go wider and further back to get yourself in a position where you could hold your legs up at the level of your eyes. So you can go way back here if you want, right? And then you just circle your legs one direction and the other. So just corkscrew again. How big can you make the circle from back of your legs? Once you've done 3 in each direction, you find a teaser and then you lower everything down. And then you flip onto your stomach. And if you want to know, this is where once we do swimming, I go, okay, we're in the home stretch. So your arms long in front of you, legs behind you. Reach the tailbone down and then lift your hands, head and chest up and your legs and opposite arm and leg as you breathe in and out and in and out. Hold it, lower everything down, sit back, find your counter stretch, head towards your knees, stomach up. Then for the transition, I like to tuck my toes under, reach my arms forward, and then pop up into a plank for your leg pull. Lift one leg, rock back, forward, switch. Lift the other leg, rock back, forward, switch. So your leg is doing swimming while your upper body is in plank. Once you've done 3, if you have shoulder stuff, just flip over. If you want to do the fancy transition, left hand to the center of the mat, right hand turns to the left behind the left hand. Okay. Then the right leg comes under the left, and then you swivel. So it's like the game of Twister. You have to know your right and left always. You'll get to a place where you just, once you tell people how to do it, you just say transition. Lift your hips up. So you reach your tailbone towards your heels. And a lot of people confuse with a yoga move and they go too high. So get your lower back long, stand the back of your legs, look towards your legs. Then you can kick a leg or you can think about it. And it doesn't matter how up you go, it matters how long you go. After 3, tuck a knee in and come up for a kneeling side kick. If this is not an exercise for you, go back to your side kicks. You're going to put your hip over your knee, shoulder over your wrist. So if you're way out here, bring it in. Okay. Then top hand behind your head. Lift the top leg up and kick it to the front and kick it to the back. Kick it to the front and kick it to the back. And we'll just do 3. It's enough. And then 3 circles as big as you can in each direction. And then we do bicycle. And if you want to think about bicycle while I talk it through, you can. You take the leg back, you bend the knee behind you. You bring the knee forward, kick. Reach a straight leg back, bring it behind you, bring the knee in, kick. And you're trying to keep the leg up. And just so you know, I tend to skip bicycle because it sucks. Here we go, bring the leg. We all have our moves. And reach. Oh, reach it. Once you've done 3 in each direction, you come up. If you got the directions mixed up, it's okay. No one's coming for you. All right, here we go, other side. All right, take your top leg up, kick it to the front and to the back, to the front and to the back. And then we'll draw some circles. And then we bicycle. Straight leg goes back. You bring the foot towards your head, bring the knee forward, kick it, and reach. And then reverse, kick it forward, reach, reach. Woo, come all the way up. Side bend. So make sure that your fingers are facing towards the front of your top of your mat and that your feet are in line with your hands. So you want your feet here and your hand back here. Get them in line. You can stagger or stack your feet. Take this top arm, palm up, push into your feet, use your bottom hip to lift you up. Bend your knees, come on down. Lift it up and bend your knees and come on down. Lift it up. Now, fun addition, if you want, you keep your bottom arm straight and you side bend down and you side bend up and you side bend down and you side bend up. And after 3, you realize it's always more than enough. You bend your knees in, you kick them over to the other side. All right. Stack the feet in line with the hands. And here we go. Second side. And then you bend the knees and you pull yourself down. Just notice if you're pulling yourself down or if you're flopping down. And then come up and you can just repeat that, or you lower the hips and you lift and you make sure this is happening in the hip and not in the shoulder. And then bend the knees. Sweep them around. Cross the ankle. We're in the rolling exercises. So there are no pauses in rolling exercises. You're just trying to keep the energy going. So cross the legs, squeeze the legs together, point the feet, round over your legs. Take your legs overhead, parallel to the floor. Switch the cross with zest. And then try to pick your head up as you round forward. The arms reach back and they pulse 1, 2, 3 to counterbalance you down. Hands go back. Do it again. Over. Quick switch. And then the head and legs try to stay the same distance the whole time. Good luck. I'm still working on it. The other day I filmed for OPC and I was like, oh my God, I think I did it for 1 rep. Last one. You got to take a win when you have it and reach, reach, reach. Bend the knees, seal. Take the hands in, grab the feet, beat one, two, three times. Rock back onto your shoulders and beat one, two, three. And then come up to your seal. So the distance between your feet and your seat stay the same. One, two, three. If there's 6 inches, you got to keep that and then beat one, two, three, and rock up and beat one, two, three, and rock back and balance one, two, three. Repeat that or cross the ankles, crab. Round forward, head towards the mat, belly up, and then lift your stomach so much you rock back, you balance on your shoulders. You switch the cross of your legs and you come up. If you don't want to come all the way onto your head, you can do that second half, right? Where you're just here to here on your shoulders, switch the cross, and you can come up to here and skip this part. It's less scary than you think. And remind me when we go over crab to show you the headstand transition, which we're going to skip today. Okay. Look onto your stomach. We're still rocking. We're still rolling. You have to finish it with the rocking exercise. So anything you did on your stomach is great, or reach back and grab your feet. Reach your tailbone away from you, and then pull your shoulders on your back. So I like to bend my elbows, and then push the feet back so that they pick your chest up and rock. And rock and rock and rock. Woo. And then sit back, head towards your knees, counter stretch. You guys, we're at the last two exercises. If you're out of breath, that's great. I think it's important to know, like, you don't have to do cardio if you have the rhythm in your practice. Lie on your back, control balance. Take your legs overhead. If you don't want to do this, you do something else that was a challenge for you. Take the left leg over its hip and the right foot reaches back. Then you grab the ankle if you can and switch the legs. And the more up you reach the leg, the less you'll fall down. Today, this is a tough one. Maybe by this afternoon, it'll be better. Whew. And then once you're even, legs together, roll up to standing. All right. Heels together, toes apart. Arms go up, they circle around your feet, look through your legs. Let your neck be nice and long. Without looking forward, trust your mat's there. Walk forward one step, then walk forward another step. And then a third step and a fourth step, head comes up in line with your body. One elbow bend, one push up. Head goes in, lift your stomach up, walk back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arms by your ears, roll up, circle around, and hands in front of your feet. Walk out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 push-ups. Head in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll it up. Last one. Hands go in front of your feet. Walk out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 push-ups. Head in. Walk back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, pat yourself on the back and then write down exercises that you were like, what the heck? What the heck? All right. It's warm. I feel Sally. Yeah. She feels something, she said. um, okay, so what I'd love to do with this moment is kind of just chat about questions you have with all of that. It'd be overwhelming to move that fast. That doesn't mean you have to move that fast, but it's really important to me that you feel the rhythms and the energies of these exercises, whether you can do them that way or not, so that you know where the goal is. You don't have to be there at this goal. Sally Joe, is that your hand raising for a question or just your hand? Okay. Okay. Was there any, you can, AM group, you can unmute yourself to ask a question. You can, if you know how to raise a hand on Zoom, you can do that. How are we doing? What exercises felt hard? What felt really good?
Balance was really hard for me. Like I kept wanting to roll back like on my head rather than staying on my shoulders.
Control
Um,
balance. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a hard one. Thank you, Miranda, for sharing. Miranda, how do you feel about your rolling like a ball?
Also
Do you
kind of
feel like
tough.
you can
Yeah.
balance?
For like a second or two, but not much longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Open leg rocker, do you feel like you can balance on your shoulders with your legs up without collapsing?
That's another tough one for me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I want you all to know, like, when you guys struggle with an exercise, what we're always going to do is like start to go back into the exercises that come before and see how are they doing. And so if rolling like a ball, she can balance for, first of all, in the rhythm of rolling like a ball, you don't balance for 2 seconds every time. But if you can balance for 2 seconds, that tells us overhead exercises are in your practice. Doesn't mean they'll be easy, but they're accessible. Okay. But if open leg rocker, you feel like you're collapsing or you're losing that shape, to me, that's where we want to evaluate before we focus on control balance. Because your control
Mm,
balance will improve as your open leg rocker improves.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
As your
so
single leg
helpful. I didn't
stretch.
make that connection, but yeah, that's so helpful.
Okay. Well, and that's okay. Like you guys don't need to make this connection today or tomorrow. Our goal is hopefully by September, these connections start to feel natural. And my hope, and you guys can stop me every time and ask, like, why do you think that? Why do you think that? Like, if you're not a good question asker, like, just even Leslie, why did you say that is a great question. So, like, if you're someone who's like, I don't have good questions, like, why did you give her that? Like, you guys can always ask. Sometimes my answer will be like, I don't know. I kind of felt like she needed it, which, by the way, is a perfectly fine answer. And or I can give you the answer that like the process that I gave, and that doesn't mean that there's the only two exercises Miranda has to work on. There, like I haven't even seen if she can make straight legs, right? So this is just like if I'm helping her, where do I think she has work to go, right? Well, thanks, Miranda. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else?
Mhm.
Yeah, Cordelia.
Hi there. For the hip twist, I always wonder whether the focus is on, because it's obviously quite challenging to be upright, it's about keeping the upright, making sure the legs come up, making sure the circles are round, or there's so many challenging components. And when people struggle, breaking down which part of that should be the focus and emphasis is what I'm asking.
Love that question. The answer is what do they need?
Okay.
So if they struggle with their arms being behind their back, we might want to just actually figure out how we can set them. First of all, we can ask ourselves, is this exercise even right for them? Because if they can't get their arms behind their back without this happening, even if we take their arms wide and back, and we'll break all these exercises down this weekend with like ways you can make them possible with for big groups, but then also asking yourself, does that person need to do it? Which is why I always give the option of like repeat corkscrew. Because if you can't get your arms back, then why don't we make sure that double leg kick is a focus and that corkscrew is your replacement exercise for the endurance? Or if it's a private session, we just skip it, right? Because we can spend the time doing other exercises that support them.
Okay.
So to answer your question, what's the focus? All of it, right? But you and I will repeat myself because you guys will hear it. Some of you will hear it today and some of you will hear it in 9 months. Some exercises, hip circles is one, you're never going to get it. So like, and I don't say that as a way to be like, don't go for it or like, what are we doing here? But instead of going like, check box, like what, like the thing about hip circles or hip twist is like it kind of reveals to us where we need to work. So rather than what do we need to focus on in the hip twist, it's what is the hip twist telling us we need to focus on.
Okay.
That cool? So if you're having a hard time reaching through your arms, the hip twist is telling you, the hip circles is telling you, work on exercises where your arms are behind your back reaching. If you have a you can do that, but the legs up is just hip flexor freak out. Well, then we need to focus on strengthening the back of your legs and your inner thighs and your center and other places. If it is getting the legs to be at eye level and not higher, we might have to work on the flexibility of your back. So I would say, Cordelia, let the hip circles, hip twists tell you what you need to focus on. And that might make it more fun to do.
Yeah, that
like,
makes sense.
like, does that make sense? Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, wonders, worries? By the way, if you're in the AM group and you weren't working out and you had your camera off, you can put your camera on so I can see your beautiful faces. So if you're in the AM, unmute for them. You'll be fine if your speakers are off.
Okay. No feedback? Good. Okay. Overall, I feel really humbled. I think what I've discovered is it's not that hard to do, to pretend you can do Pilates, but it's really hard to actually do it. And so there's exercises that today I tested because they're not in my practice and I wanted to see where I was. But doing them, I see places I really need to replace and focus on exercises to find those principles and find those connections in my body. So I think that awareness I'm humbled by, but I'm kind of encouraged about it for my own process.
Thank you so much for sharing. Does anyone else feel like that? Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like mat is like my worst. Like I feel like it's the hardest because there's nothing to support you, right? Like this, the reformer is supportive, the tower is still supportive too. Like the mat, there's nothing. It's just you and your body. So it's I find it's the hardest for me.
It's just so you, Gwyneth, it is the hardest for all of us. I don't think there's a person out there that's going to say the mat is easy for them. And if they do, and they're not someone I train with or train with Jay, I think I might question like, like, what are you saying? Because it should, here's the thing. To me, the more advanced you are, the harder easy exercises, beginner exercises are because you're bringing so much to it. Crisscross, by the time I get to crisscross, I'm like, I'm dead. I can't even. Like Jay would every time I worked with Jay, he's like, Leslie, are you just going to rush your crisscross? You're just going to give me something. And like, cause like you, and that to me, it's like, that's a gym exercise, right? We should all be able to do it. But when you add the Pilates to it and you add the whole body working, it's so much harder. So thank you for sharing that, Sally and Gwyneth. Like the reason I start with the mat is because this is what Joe Pilates intended us to like and do. And this is what he wanted everyone in the world doing his exercises. So he created first. And then he realized like it's really hard. People have a hard time doing these exercises because like when it's said, there is no support. It's just you. Now, if you have a Contrology mat, we can see that Dan and Allison have it. I have it. Kimberly and Robert have a mat with handles. You have a mat with handles and a strap. You actually have an apparatus. If you are working with, I had Sally on my one at one point. You guys, we made mats. We'll never do that again. So don't ask me. That was a disaster. I had 115 mats arrive to my 500 square foot apartment. So I'm not doing that again, but like an 8 to 10 millimeter mat is great. So you can do the mat work anywhere, but you have to understand without the handles and the strap, now you're really on your own. So that doesn't mean you only can do the mat if you have handles and a strap. It means that you have to work harder, right? So we do it together at eLevate because I don't expect anyone to be slaying the mat today or even by the reformer weekend. By the end, I want you all to feel like you have all the tools you need to support the mat practice you want. And I really am on a mission. Like if people are going to love Pilates as much as they do, we need to have people understand that the mat work is Pilates and that everything is created to help us with the mat. It all is. So you can do reformer classes all day if you want, but if you don't have a mat practice, you're not working the system, right? And that's not like I'm like some weird, like I want to get in a war with people about what's Pilates. But what I'm saying to you all is like, you guys will have a very robust healthy, fun career and personal practice if you understand the mat work and its intentions and how all these other exercises work. They're all in existence to help us with the mat. Why? Because the mat work is the most like life. In life, we're going to reach for the top shelf. We're going to have to round forward and grab something. We're going to have to twist and bend. It's all these different life moves. So if you can start to look at start to look at your own personal life and how you move and start to realize, like I have a fun story and then we'll get into some other stuff. But like, in my old apartment in LA, there's like these old school washer dryers, right? They're so tall. Like I think they like came up to my rib cage, right? And I was grabbing laundry, and of course, something fell down behind the washer and dryer. So I had to get onto the washer and dryer. So now I'm kneeling and I'm going between a wall. There's a wall there, and I'm like trying to reach down behind the dryer to get the thing. And I realized I was doing crab. My head wasn't on the floor by any means, but I was on my knees. I'm rounding forward. I'm trying to grab something, but I can't let gravity take over because then I'm going to fall behind a dryer. So I had to pull up as I reached down. And I was like, and I came up and I was like, oh my God, I just did crab. I just did kneeling mermaid on the window chair, right? Like, so if you can start to just notice these things, one, in your teaching, it's going to make your clients actually realize how valuable you are. But two, you are going to understand what you're doing is more than Pilates. It's to help them understand how their whole life goes. Cool? Okay. Questions? Okay. All right. So I want to talk about spine shapes first, because I think that is really important to understand. Um, and I'm gonna talk about them like this, and then I'm gonna grab Sally Joe and we'll kind of just like demonstrate them in the mat work. Because I think that's gonna be really helpful. So you have 5 spine shapes. You have the round, extension, tall, side bend, and twist. Um, some exercises combine multiple spine shapes. Sometimes you've got a twist and a bend. Sometimes you're starting a tall and you go to a round. But it's important that you understand the spine shapes that are in an exercise, because if you struggle with flexion in an exercise that's upside down, we're going to want to look at your flexion right side up, right? We're going to look at your like if you can do flexion on your back with gravity, your back can do it. So then in a different plane, what's going on that's affecting that? That's going to help us understand things. It also lets us know like where we can progress you. So if you're coming to me and telling me, like Miranda's like, I want to do control balance on the mat, I struggle with it. If I look at that spine shape, it's a round spine shape, but it's upside down. So then I'm like, okay, what other round spine shapes come up and how do those look on her body? And if she struggles with them there, then I know that like, well, control balance might be the problem that she wants to work on. We actually probably have to go work over here in this spine shape. Now, just working flexion to get better flexion isn't actually the answer, because she might need to actually work tall back stuff, because the tall back is where everything comes from. First, you're tall in your back and then you twist, or first you're tall in your back and then you side bend, or first you're tall in your back and then you round, or you're tall and then you extend. And so the tall back is the longest you can get without your ribs coming forward, right? Because some people are like, look at me, I'm so tall, right? So it's like, how tall can you get without your shoulders getting in your ears or your butt sticking out? So it's that space, it's that two-way stretch we want to work on. And then everything's going to go from that. And so if we're struggling with a spine shape, we want to actually ask ourselves, okay, well, we still need to use the other spine shapes to support it. So how do these other ones look in a body? So when you can actually start to see spine shapes and you have clients tell you what they want to do in their life, and you can go, okay, what spine shapes does that require? Right? I used to work with NFL players. Okay, so they start in a flexion stance. They have to have strong legs. Then they got to get up tall, and they have to be able to twist or turn at any time. Right? So I have to understand, okay, so how quick can I get them on their feet? And what shapes of the spine are they struggling with? So when I work with them in their first session, I'm like, okay, your twisting is not good. So what do I need to do? Right? And that's where we get to look to the other exercises. And something you will never hear me do with you is like have you repeat an exercise you struggle with over and over again to get better at it. No, we're going to ask ourselves, what other exercises do we have access to? Now, for the purpose of the mat section, it's going to be mat exercises and props. And that's going to be frustrating. It's like, but I just want to go to the reformer. But I need you all to get obsessed with the mat because so many of you, your training programs didn't. And even if they did, your teaching practice doesn't. So I know because I used to work in high-end fitness environments. I worked in group fitness. Like I worked with private clients. I had people who demand, I just want to be on the reformer. And I'm like, yeah, it's not what you need though. Right. So like I get the pressure, which is why in this space, we get to get obsessed with it and see what we can do. Okay. So I'm going to grab, they're my two lovely dogs. Okay. I'm going to grab Sally and we're going to just do a little, woo, come on over, Sally, to this mat. All right, so we're just gonna go over some spine shapes with a visual part, right? So come on up, babe. So lie on your back. Let's do some flexion stuff. Yeah, just lie on here, yeah. And then bring your knees into your chest for double leg stretch. Okay, lift your head and chest up. All right, so heels together. There you go. Reach your arms and legs away. So double leg stretch, circle around and come in. So this is a flexion exercise the whole time. But if we watch Sally Jones, she's going to keep moving and she's not going to correct herself. Watch her chest as her arms go back. Oh, she got a little better. But as her arms go back, her chest is lowering. So she's losing the flexion, right? So rest for just a second. I don't want you to die. Curl up. All right. So you don't get to rest on my nails. And I haven't had a manicure in a couple weeks. So good luck. Here we go. Reach your arms back and circle around. Just stay where you were. So the chest isn't lower and it doesn't lift. Ooh, that was a lower. And reach. There you go. You feel the difference? So it's hard, she said. Yeah, it's a hard exercise, rest. So the double leg stretch is the exercise Jay would say. Jay Grums, I'll just call him Jay from here on out. Jay would always say this is the exercise in Pilates. Everyone likes to say there's a king and a queen. It's swan and it's the 100 or it's the roll up. No, every exercise in Pilates, if you look at it, starts like this, reaches out and comes back in. When we get to swan and the reformer, you'll see you actually start in an upside down double leg stretch over the box. And then you reach out. Now you get to go beyond flexion into extension, but then you come back into a double leg stretch. So like the more you can see that, look at how exercises they pull in, right? The center gathers strength and reaches, and it gathers strength and it reaches. So the double leg stretch is really, really important. It also is a flexion exercise. And if in this exercise they're losing flexion, you can ask questions. The cows come home about how to make teaser better. It's not going to be better until they can control that longest spine shape. Yeah? Okay. Let's do rolling like a ball. I want to do a couple flexion exercises with you, and then we'll go into extension. So rolling like a ball. Go ahead and grab your shins. And so she's going to rock back and up. Go ahead and do a few. Yeah. So at home, you're not able to hear it, but Christine and I can hear. It's a little loud, don't you think, Sally, when your hips come down? Okay. So she has a tight lower back, right? It's a tight lower back. So what we have to do is get this flexion to be smoother through her lower back. That's going to take us some time, right? So, Sally, yeah, well, and I can see it too. But yeah, yeah. So like Joe Pilates would listen a lot. Clara was like basically blind and they would listen a lot. And that's why like when we get to the reformer, they hear that the straps have this two. And I was like, why is there two? Because they make noise. And so if they make noise, they could hear, oh, that person wasn't using their center. So it's yes, safety, but also that. So what I'm seeing in her rolling like a ball, and we'll dive into this when we get into exercises, her feet come away from her body a little bit when she goes upside down. It happens in her seal as well. And so go ahead and step back up. Yep. Push your shins into your hands like they're going to try to explode out. Push them, push them, push your legs forward. Push, 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 push. Now pull back from here. Pull your arm. Nope, don't round back. Pull your arms back from here like a row. Yep, but not your back straightening. So you're round, but you're rowing your arms back. Yes. Okay. Now when you're upside down, keep that tension. Go back. Keep that tension. Come up. Better. Go back. Keep that tension. Come up. So she's still got some noise we got to work on, but she is so much tighter. It's a lot quieter, and she's keeping her round shape. How's that feel? Way different. You feel in your center. Yes. Great. Thank you. I paid her to make me look so good. Yeah. So here is the thing. Like when we get to the talk less teach part, you can understand like I'm going to watch someone move a few times, and then I'm going to give them an instruction. And if it helps, great. If that didn't help, I'm not going to be like, okay, here's 17 more things. I'm going to be like, okay, we're going to move on because she needs more, right? But that addition helped, and it will over time, this is going to open up. It's not going to open up today. It's been tight forever. So I believe you're like some sort of like runner, hiker. Don't you do something? Yeah. Yes. You like those like 100-mile hikes. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we have a lot. It's an uphill battle for us, pun intended. Okay. So, by everyone, this is Bayonne. And Bayonne is a Pilates dog, and he thinks that this is his time. I know, sweet boy. Where is Brad? Where'd he go? All right. So thank you. Thank you. Come here. Come here. Thank you. Sit down. Can you sit? Okay, great. On the mat. That's perfect. Let's do a tall back while he's there. So go ahead and set up for spine stretch forward. Okay. So separate your legs as wide as the mat, just as wide as the mat. So the moon boxes we'll talk about in a bit. So her hands go between her legs, and they actually don't have to touch. I can see by her, like she's a little shorter, so her arms don't always get down. That's okay, right? Like my fingertips start there too. So in this tall back, her hips have to be like shoulders have to be over the hips, right? So she's going to sit up here. Breathe here. Yes. Okay. Now flex your ankles. So you start tall. Spine stretch forward is very tall, right? And then she's going to round. So go ahead and round forward. Yep. Round, 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 round. Awesome. So she is showing us where too far is. So she's very flexible in her hamstrings. So I actually, to get her to stretch this out and come back into a tall back, we're going to lift your hip points up. Yeah. So you can go as far forward, Sally, as these bones stay up. Now pulse. 1, 2, 3. Now sit up tall without leaning back. Oh, we went back a little bit. There you go. Yep. All right. Go ahead. Go again. Round. And the hip points are lifting up. Yes. Pulse 3 times. And then sit tall. Up, 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 up. Ribs into my hand. Yep. And then round forward. So if she had a wall, she would figure out that she's kind of going into extension. But this is important information for us, right? Because she can go from tall to round. What's happening? What do we need here? Let's do a spine twist because that has a tall back in it as well. Squeeze your legs together. And yes, it has a twist. So we're kind of covering a couple extra spine shapes here, but palms down. So breathe into here. Yes. Okay. Now twist to the right. So see how her shoulders want to go forward. So she's leaning out of her tall. So she's got to be on her hips. Yes. Now unwind. And then twist. You've got room. But stay, shoulders over hips there. Yes. And then, yes. And then unwind and twist. So you can see, oh, we turned. Look at this hip did. Oh, yes. Okay. So twisting and turning get very easily confused. So we'll talk twist now because we're doing it. As she twists, her feet actually have to stay exactly the same length. So if one goes forward, that tells me she's turning, right? And she's going to lift her chest up, up, up. Yes. If as she twists, she leans back or forward, that tells us a lot that's going on in her hip flexors, her back. She's got to be shoulders over hips. So twisting to me is one of the hardest spine shapes because you have to be able to be tall, which we already know she's going to have a little issues with. And we know she's a tight back. So it's going to be hard for her to keep in a twist. Yeah. Rest. Okay. Let's do extension. Actually, can you lie down quickly for the 100? So the 100 starts in a tall back. I just want to show another tall back in the mat. There's so many we'll talk about as we get through exercises. And if I don't, please ask me. But 100 starts in a tall back. Take your arms up overhead. So do you see this gap here? That's not tall. So it's not about pushing your front ribs down, but pull your shoulders on your back and breathe into my hand here. Yes. So she might not get her arms very far overhead because her arms can only go as far forward or far overhead as her low ribs on the back can stay down. And if her arms are connected to her back, her upper abs can work. So just so you know, it's never about what to tell this to do, because this is only accessible if this is working. Okay. Now that's a tall back, right? Do you feel that? Say you're different. Now, can you come up to your 100 from there? Let's see. Just your 100. Yeah. Okay. And then go back down and go into the tall back without extension. There you go. Yeah. That's okay. You'll get there. The barrels will help her. Over time, she'll get better. Over time, you can pretty much get to the hover, or even some people can get all the way to the mat, but it's strength and mobility, right? It's both. Okay. Flip onto your stomach. Let's do some extension. So we'll do a swan prep for this. So just put one hand over the other. So I don't teach this in every class that I teach, but I teach it anytime I'm teaching a public class. And the reason is that I have very limited time to teach people what extension is. So we can see from Sally, her lower back is like fine with extension. It is thrilled to be here. Okay. However, I don't need to strengthen this anymore. And if I don't work this, then she will be a hunchback hiker, right? Like that's just what's going to happen because that's what gravity works. Our entire, even though we teach Pilates, notice how much you look down at people. It's like all your reformers became computers. Okay. So we have to work extension. And I highly recommend if you have a ladder barrel or spine corrector, even though that barrel begins not till the end, every day you teach Pilates or you're on your computer, please bend over it. Get over your barrel, work your extension, right? So what I'm going to have Sally do is to find the longest extension, and also with the start in a tall back here, which we're not going to be able to really, she's going to lift her frontal hip points up. So she's going to feel like she's tucking. And just so you know, you can't because the floor is there. So you can't tuck. And this is a very firm mat. It's not squishy. Okay. So she is going to keep those frontal hip points up. I wanted to say everybody is different, and belly abundance can affect whether or not I can see space. I never ask for a scoop. I always put bones into place. And so I want her to keep her frontal hip points up, but from the eye, depending on the body, they might still look like they're touching. Okay. But the bones inside the body are pulling up. Yeah. So go ahead, Sally, and see if you can lift your hands, head, and chest without your hip points going down. They kind of went down. Yeah, they kind of did. Go ahead and go. Yeah. So go more forward than up. Like don't even think about, go half as high and get longer and lift these up. Lift. Yep. Lift. Less high and more up. Yeah. So I'm trying to get the extension here, right? That's where we want. So extension for our spine shapes, it's the longest spine shape. So I don't need her to touch the ceiling with her head. I almost want you to touch my table over there with your head. So lift these and yeah, get longer. Pull this forward. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Oh, it's not so painful. Oh, yeah. Well, these like to work for you. Yeah. So we have to a massage. Not here. Vegas is very expensive. But skip the massages here. But yeah. So there's muscles in here that have to work. Yeah. So it should never be painful. Yep. Hip points. Yep. The other way. Tuck. Yes. You see what I mean? Okay. She's working out. And see, this is the other thing. Like normally in a private session, I wouldn't nitpick this much. Because I want people to come back. But we're looking at spine shapes and she's going to figure this out and then she gets to translate it all for you. Yeah. Okay. Side bend. So we skipped mermaid in the mat class and it's not because I skipped it. Like it's because we did side bend. And if you do side bend, like mermaid is basically like a side bend. So let's go ahead and do a side bend. So, yep. So, yep. You start with your knees bent. And then flex your ankles. Yep. Make sure your feet are in line with your hand. There you go. Your knees will be bent. Yeah. So it's kind of like there's a line between your hand and your feet, and then your butt's behind the line and your knees are in front of it. Okay. Now this arm goes up and she's going to lift her hips up for a side bend. So this has to lift and she's doing it from her shoulder. Woo, you good? Let's stack your feet. So stagger your feet. Sorry. Put the top foot forward. There you go. Yep. Okay. Now your top hip, everyone's top hip wants to go forward or back, right? So by putting her foot forward, it's going to get her hips to stack. More. Yeah. And then less from here, but lift your butt. Use your bottom hip to lift. Yeah, maybe it is. Bring it in. Yeah. Uh-huh. And lift your butt up. Lift your butt up. Lift your butt up. There you go. So bend in, come down. She wants to twist in her side bend. So we could correct her side bend till the cows come home. But honestly, after looking at all these spine shapes, I think if we work your tall back, we're going to get everything to kind of figure itself out. Yeah. And her arm back connection too. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the computer. Thank you for being our model. So now, my loves, questions about any of that. Made sense? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Melanie, thank you. And then Vicky. Yeah, it sounds a little bit muddled. Nope. You're unmuted, but like your audio is not connected.
These out.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. I can hear you perfectly now.
Sorry.
We can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my AirPods are weird. I have a couple clients that really struggle with like in a tall back, trying to go into extension and trying to flare their ribs out. Do you have some good cues for that? For just
Yeah, I think you want to probably I'd want to see what their tall back looks like at a wall.
at a wall. Okay.
Like I would put we'll do some wall stuff on Sunday. Remind me if I don't, but like it sounds like they're not really understanding they're tall first. Yeah, Heather, do you have something to add? Yeah, your audio's cutting in and out a little bit, Leslie.
Mine?
Yeah, it just got really low for a second when you were answering her question.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Now you're back. Now you're back.
Okay, great. Great. So so I think we need to look at their tall back, and then there's not really a cue for you have to the best cues come from you teaching them what you want them to feel.
Yeah.
Always. So when we get to the barrels weekend and they get to feel a supported extension without the rib flare, then you can actually like talk about that. Yesterday I was teaching Sue here at the house and I made her do a C shaper move. And then I could like call upon the oh, find your C shaper in here, right? Like, so sometimes you're going to feel limited on the mat work right now because we're not going to have a ton of things that teach that rib flare. But really, to me, it sounds like their arms aren't connected to their back and then they're going to extension. And so they have to shove things somewhere. So let's do an arm back connection thing as we talk about that this weekend and then use that with them and see how that helps. Because rib flare is a sign that they're trying to do extension like from the like Brad has a military spine. So in yoga, he looks like he's an extension because he pinches his shoulder blades together. But his spine actually never extended. So he has all this compression in his lower back. Right. So we kind of have to like go, okay, what's going on there? But I would say the best cues are teaching them what you want with another piece of equipment. Okay. And then what's disconnecting that their ribs are allowed to do that. And then how do we find that connection? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. What else, loves? Vicky had a question and then Miranda.
So thank you, Leslie. My question is around when you were working with her on parolling, she has a kind of flat and tight lumbar, and I mimic that. I mean, it's just not been physically possible for me to roll without making a squishing sound on the mat, which can be rather humorous at times. But anyway,
okay. When I do coordination, if I'm wearing a short shirt, it also makes a noise.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm hesitant to push clients who have tightness in that area because I'm afraid that they might not be body aware and they might over push themselves and hurt themselves. So did I read you right that instead of really working on the rolling that you substituted in spine stretch, you anchored her pelvis, and then you had her stretch from there, and
Oh, yeah.
then you
So,
work to extension.
Yeah. So I think it's really good to be mindful of how people interpret your words, because there's all kind of learners around. I had a client, I was like,
Mhm.
I always tell people to hop off the reformer, and she legitimately jumped off the reformer. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, and then I had another person who did that. I'm like, oh, and I found out from his family he was autistic, and I was like, oh, so when they're autistic, they take me literally. Got noted, right? So like everyone's style of learning is really important. So I think it's important to be mindful of that, but also that's where words are really like that's why the words can't help us. And that's where I used the exercises and placement of her bones to get me what I wanted. And if I can't get that, then I know, okay, I'm not going to get it in this exercise. So some exercises, it's perfectly safe for them to do an ugly version of it. There's nothing wrong with it. They got to learn the moves anyways. And so sometimes we just let them do the choreography badly, as long as it's safe. But Jay would always say, ugly Pilates get used to it, dangerous Pilates never.
Right,
So,
right.
right.
That makes
So,
sense.
so what I would just say is like roll like a ball and make the squishy sounds. And then let's find out what exercises we can actually get the bones in the place that teach you the shape that you want. So yes, in rolling like a ball, because the move is she's literally rolling. I can't while she's mid roll literally give her the right words because my words are going to take longer than her roll is. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if I set her up correctly and I'm still not getting what I want, I can use another exercise. So yes, to your point, spine stretch forward would be an excellent way to open up her back by getting the bones in place, by getting her pelvis where I want it and going from there. And if that didn't work, well, eventually we'll have 500 exercises to choose from to help us there. But yeah, you can still do rolling like a ball, but then take your time getting what you want out of another exercise.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Miranda and then Cordelia.
Yeah, so for tall back, when you had Sally Joe like in her 100 prep position, um, her ribs were kind of popping up. And I always hear the cue, knit your ribs down to kind of, you know,
Yeah.
push them
No,
down
no.
and find length or, bring your low
There's some
ribs
really
down to the mat.
pretty phrases that Pilates instructors use, right? And they're not
Hmm.
helpful. Um, knitting your ribs together is a cue that was around when I became a Pilates instructor, and it's not inherently wrong. It's just not right. Does that make sense? So, like, because what do most people do? If you say knit your ribs together, first of all, we're expecting people to even know what that means. Okay, but then if we tell them or we show them, then they do this. Look, they're together. Look at that. Where are my shoulders though? They're off my back. They're in my ears. They're not on.
Mm.
You cannot knit your ribs together and pull your shoulders back. Right. So when we see a rib flare in flexion, it is a sign that we do not have length in the flexion. And nitpicking the ribs, we can get what we want to see, but not what we want happen in the body. So sometimes we have to ask ourselves of what we're correcting, like actually helping, or is it just making things look good? Right. So like ugly Pilates, better, but dangerous Pilates, no. Right. But pretty Pilates is performative. So when people say that, I just want to say like, I don't know them and I don't want to sound like I'm like bullying on them, but it's not accurate. When the ribs are flaring, there is either not space in the spine for them to fall into place in flexion, or their arms aren't connected to their back. And with Sally in her double leg stretch, we do have some work there to do. And the more we get her arms connected to her back, the upper abs will have more access. So whenever you see ribs out, it's a sign to you, oh, are their arms connected to their back? If they are, okay, are they breathing?
correctly? Are they breathing into their belly? Oh, okay. Do we have the strength to keep that connection? And then where can I teach it? Double leg stretch might not be the place for me to teach it there. I might need to teach it using a prop or a barrel or you know what I mean, a ball or something like that. So I don't use knit your ribs together because it's not accurate and it usually gets me shoulders forward. And what they mean is not wrong. It's just not the best way. One of the best things a teacher ever told me was be mindful of what you cue away. Because if you cue something to get it to look pretty or to look the way you want, and I'll say this, I said to someone, oh, soften your knees in footwork because she was hyperextending. Nothing wrong with that. It's not dangerous. Hyperextending her knees isn't great. So if I have her soften her knees, nothing wrong with that, right? And the teacher said to me, you don't know why her knees are locking yet. So if you don't know why they're locking, if you get her to perform for you, you're not going to figure out where the problem is. So I would just say, like, it's okay to observe ribs out and just leave it like that. As long as they're safe, as long as it's not in their neck. And then we get to ask ourselves and each other, what do we think is going on here? Like, what's going on here? What's going on with her arms? It's okay to be an observation. Is that helpful? That makes sense, Miranda?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I think when you were adjusting her, you said like bring your shoulder blades down, and that helped a lot. And I is that like that arm
Oh,
back connection?
on the 100. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your shoulder blades are not just down. So I just want to make sure, like, down is not always the accurate word. The shoulder blades actually do move. And in rowing, they're going to move a lot. They definitely have to do scaption, but on that particular exercise, I want her shoulder blades and her low ribs to go on the mat. So down into the mat. Right. So I usually use breath there because if I tell people to put their ribs down, I might get the knit your ribs shoulders forward. Now, I might tell people to breathe down and they still might give me that. I might go, okay, hold on, wide collarbones, just breathe. Okay, we have more work to do, right? Sometimes even the best correction doesn't work for everybody, and we have to go and figure out like what's going on. But yes, if she actually had the capacity to get her lower ribs to touch the mat to find that tall back, and that pulled her arms onto her back, and we got what we wanted. If she didn't have that, then I probably would take her arms to the ceiling and just take that overhead all the way out because it's taking her out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Vicky, you had another question, and then we're gonna go into some other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just to follow up, Leslie, you said something at the beginning of that explanation. I tried to capture it, and I want you to say it again because it's going to explain the geometry for me. You said rib flare in extension is not enough length in the back. Is that what you said?
No. Yes.
No, yes.
When people's ribs are flaring, it's a sign their arms aren't connected to their back. So it doesn't really matter the spine shape. It's a sign that they don't have the up reach that we'll talk about in a minute. So it's more of a sign that there's disconnections. And then with disconnections, yes, we're lacking length in the spine, and that can be in any spine shape. That can be in flexion, that can be an extension, that can be in anything. We're lacking length in the spine. So
Testing.
the rib,
So
yeah. So if your ribs are flared here, I'm not in extension, even if my back is extending. I'm in a compression. If I want to be in extension, I've got to root my sit bones down, and then I can go into extension, and my ribs are long, right? I'm going into extension, and I'm doing it, but there's space. But if I push my ribs forward, yes, this is extension of the spine, but it's more compressive. So we're always trying to go for length. Got it? Cool. Okay. Cool. Great questions.
thank you.
And then, by the way, you have a question in the chat that I missed. It's what do you do when someone has skeletal issues that prevent rounding the lumbar? I'm always concerned about pushing people. If they're not allowed to round their spine, I don't round it.
I think I got my question verbally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Lori Watson is a grad from eLevate 1. She has made multiple workshops about modifications for the back on different pieces of equipment. They're all in OPC. You can buy them all. She has actual fusions. She does classical Pilates. She flows. She does all the things. She does not bend her spine above and below that fusion. So when there is a limitation like that, then I obviously honor it and I just omit the things they can't do. There's so many things they can do. That being said, if someone comes and tells me they're not allowed to flex and extend their spine, but I watch them lean over to take their shoes off and then they reach up to put something on the thing, I'm like, so can we talk about that flex and extend your spine? Because you just did all of it. What does it mean? Like, because my job then is to like help them do it with the best strength and length. And so, like, but fusions are a do not pass. Okay, cool. Let me look at my notes where I'm at. Okay, let's talk about the mat as an apparatus, and then I want to get into the exercises. Okay, so a spot like that. Okay. All right, so this particular mat is a Contrology mat. I always have people ask me, what mats do I like? Hello, sir. You like this mat too. He did not like the grots. I will tell you, he never got on it. But the Contrology mat is very firm, right? Sally was on it. It's very, very firm. If you ever come here and try it out, what people always worry about is like, oh, I have really like sensitive bones. Okay, my spine sticks out, guys. Like this is not a piece of wood, but the firmness of this means that when I'm on my hands, thank you. When I'm on my hands, it's not sinking into my wrists, right? Also, I have a hypermobile spine, and when you have squishy pads and your spine, the person's spine is hypermobile, then they sink. And so then you're telling people, I used to always get this correction. My God, for until Contrology came out, I got this correction all the time about how I need to lift my chest because like I would be on a carriage and like this would happen because the carriage literally like welcomed my spine. I have a very mobile spine, so they were always like lift. I had people putting a pad underneath there, and guess what it did? It made me shove my ribs. I did all these things, and so when Contrology came out with the reformer, I was super excited because literally I didn't sink anymore and all these corrections went away because it didn't welcome my spine. So I'm not saying everyone has to have a Contrology mat, but I want to talk about why the mat is an apparatus. And I'm going to make an argument about like, I think mat classes should be the same price as equipment classes, but that's a different story. Obviously, if you can fit for 30 people in a room, as opposed to 10, it's a different price. But this, when you think of it as a piece of equipment, it becomes more important and more valuable. These handles, these will pull out, which some people don't like. Guess what? You're not supposed to be pulling them wide. You're supposed to be reaching up into them. And so when you reach up into them, it really helps with, if you think about it, right? Like in teaser, our arms are doing this, right? When we're doing this in teaser. So when I have the handles, I get to practice reaching up. It's the same reach. It's the same reach, right? This is the same reach. So it's really nice. On Swan, why these handles make it so great is that most people get stuck in their upper traps. But if my hands are on these handles, I get more width, I get more space to move that extension than if I'm narrower, right? So that's why the handles are so great. Obviously, if you don't have handles, you can just take your hands wider for Swan. But for reaching up, oh my, it changes your overhead exercises. I promise you, you promise you. And some people are like, well, can I just do it on a Cadillac? Yes-ish. The arm placement is different, right? Because now your arms are like this versus like this. You're not getting the same width in the back that we want. Now you're still getting something because obviously we do overhead stuff on the Cadillac as well. But for the mat exercises, these handles mimic how your arms have to be for control balance, how your arms have to be for all of that stuff. So that's what makes them really great. It also teaches you that up reach you want. So yes, you can supplement with power bars, but they're also often narrower than this. And if you're trying to work width across your back, it's really, really nice. Moon boxes. These are really great because you can take your feet off for your saw, your side kick, depending on the height of the person. You can move this so that their legs can be off. I moved it over here so I could just flip over, but that's just because I didn't want my butt in your face. No, I would just, in my own practice, I just flip over. But I'm really tall, so I could also place them on the end right? So like if I wanted to do the strap with the single leg circle, I could have, because when my hands are on the thing, I can use the handles but still have mat. I wouldn't use the strap, but I could have the mat, right? So I could actually reach. I often will just do this because I'm in my own practice too lazy to move my moon boxes around. But if you, as a teacher, you could move, like my friend Andrea Maida, to the 6'5" guy. So she just puts the pads down and now the mat's long enough. Yeah. So that's really great. The strap. Oh my God. I posted about this week and there was 2 comments and I'm just like, do not get my point. The strap is not about being a beginner or not strong. The strap is about pulling energy back into your body. Okay. It is so integral. And we're so lucky to have it for the roll up and for the neck pull. Yes, I can roll up without a strap. And that doesn't make me a better Pilates person than someone who can't. If you are someone who can only roll up with a strap, you're not bad. You're not wrong. In fact, it's really great. So when I'm without a strap, obviously I do my roll ups and my neck pulls, and I'm grateful that I have that ability. If I couldn't, I would just omit those exercises when I don't have a strap. Or I'll show you how you can use a magic circle to access. But the strap, the more advanced you are, the more you use it, right? Because it's really truly like when I do neck pull, having access to the strap to help turn on my outer hips, but then I can access my inner thighs helps neck pull get out of my hip flexors. So please, 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 I see people all the time just like, oh, they're too lazy to grab the strap. We get so weirdly lazy. We're like, I just want to glue it. Like roll up, put the strap on, and keep going. It's so, so good for you. And it's really, really nice. Notice that it comes from below and over. So it is not the same as a strap going across like a belly band on the Cadillac. That's not the same. The belly band on the Cadillac holds the legs down. This is something I can pull on, right? I can pull on. So I can, that energy of my heels going out, pulling on the strap can pull it back into my body. And so I can use that to get me to the next exercise. It's also revealing like it's not getting slack on me. If I go all the way up here and then it gets slack, I'm not using my center. That's the other thing about the strap. It actually tells the body and the teacher, oh, yeah, so I can come as far forward as I can still pull back on that strap. And so it's really like these tools help us understand things. And so the mat is an apparatus just like anything else. And it gives us information. So the equipment to me tells us things. We talked about this a moment ago with the loudness, right? The sounds. If the handles are pulling out when they're going overhead, I know they're not reaching. If the strap is getting slack when they're rolling up, I know we're not getting into the center. The strap's holding their legs down, but we're still not getting into the center, right? So it's giving me the information I need to go, what else do they need in their body? Where else can we go? Cool. Dowels. Everyone, make a trip to your local hardware store. Okay, you don't like so these are the length of 1 yard. They're 36 inches. This, I have obviously not even taken the tag off. This is I don't know the actual name of this, but like literally in the piping department of the hardware store, they literally sell them at this length. And then on Amazon, you just buy these things. Sometimes the hardware store has these things. They're like chair stoppers. Anyways, boom. Now I have a weighted pull. It's really fun. Try this because the weighted pull, I'll show you a roll up with both. To me, the weighted pull is like if you're struggling to find your arm back connection, it kind of forces you to because it's too heavy to not have it. And then you have to hold on to it. Right. And I did the thigh stretch today with the weighted pull because I can go back further. And then here's the regular dowel. And I'm still coming up. Right. But I can move my shoulder down. So they're both the length of 36 inches or 1 yard for my metric peeps. I think that's a yard as a metric. Anyways, sorry guys, I'm American schooling, so I don't know. But why is it this long? So look at how wide my hands are compared to my shoulders, right? Allows me, when my arms are overhead, to have space here. When you hold those shorter dowels, you're asking people to pull their shoulders down. Good luck. Their life is here. So the space is so, so great. Why do the dowels get shorter? For shipping. Grotz did it too. They literally cut them to fit inside the short box when they ship it to save money on the box for shipping. So that's why you go to a hardware store. This one we made in the like closet department. They have 6 foot tall dowels for like closets. And if you just ask kindly for them to cut it in half, they will. And then you have two. So there you go. So we made a bunch of these from the hardware store. It was like, I think I bought stuff to make 2x4 sandbags, dowels. I think I spent $60. It was not a lot of money. So, anyways, that is the apparatus itself. Any questions on that? Questions on the mat or how to use it? I know we got some people who already have access, so hopefully they got to learn some stuff about their mat. Cool. All right. Well, now let's get how about this? I feel like you guys won't go to the bathroom if I don't tell you. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a 5 minute break. So that means 20 minutes to the hour. Be back on. Okay. All right, potty break time, and we'll be back 20 minutes to the hour, wherever you are.
Leslie, how
All right. Cordelia asked, since we use the equipment to help clients become more efficient with the mat work, I would always start new clients on a mat as a screening with me. Is this correct? Cordelia, I love it. It's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, like, we can talk about this more in a Q&A, so always like
Okay.
because it'll apply more. But I if, for first time clients, I tend to start them on the reformer if I have access to it. And then I go to the mat, but I do it on a Cadillac. And the reason is the first time session is a buffet, and you want to make sure they tie all the good stuff because that's really fun. But you absolutely can start with the mat work first. It depends on the person, right? Or it depends on what you have access to. I always want to get them to the mat, and the mat is so hard, but sometimes they're so disconnected, it feels easy for them. So then, like, it's not like enticing them to think that they can do it, right? So I like to humble them with it. But so I often will do it towards the end, or after the reformer, and I'll tell them, this is what I saw, this is what you need. But we'll talk about that on like remind me on a Q&A call. And then we have a workshop on like converting first time clients. But yeah, the mat work will absolutely sorry, that the mat work will absolutely reveal things that they need, but so can the reformer. Yeah, so both are good. But yes, we're always trying to get them to the mat. Always, always, always. Yeah. So however you like that. Okay, so we're gonna get into the exercises. So I'm gonna do a few, and then so I'll be spotlit for the few that the demo, and then we're gonna come back, and those of you who want to do them, we'll do them, and then we can all look at you. We can address questions, come back, da da da. I want my goal today, if it feels like we're rushing, if we're not, my goal today is to get to spine stretch forward. And I still want to get a workout in again because I want, like, to be honest, like we can talk about Pilates till the cows come home. You got to do it to know it. So I want to do it again because it'll help you with your questions, really. Obviously, you don't have to do the mat workout again. I'm not doing the second one. I'm going to watch you do it. Okay. All right. So, okay. Cool. So let's do the 100 roll up and roll over, and then we'll talk. You can put questions in the chat, and Heather will interrupt me as we go. But the 100, yes, ideally, everyone starts standing and goes down. right? Now let's talk about, let me show from the front. So 1 foot, everyone will always do their dominant leg, right? So sometimes it's fun to make people, so you go cross one front of the other, and then you just tell people to switch because I will always put my right foot in front. And so when I go down with my left foot in front, it reveals its own things, right? The other thing is that this foot in front, certainly people can put weight on it, but it really is like a one-legged like pistol squat. And they're going down, it will show you like what is their back flexibility, knee flexibility, hip flexibility, ankle flexibility, all of that. And now look, I'm enrolling like a boss, right? So that's how you go down. And then we get back into our hundreds. Yeah. So we talked about this with Sally. Everyone does their roll up and their 100 and their teaser in this position, start arched. So we want to find the tall back. The arms go overhead only as much as we can keep the length in our spine, not length. Length, right? Then when you come up for the 100, you can leave the legs down if you want. I lift them if they can. And then the goal is toes in line with eyes. But let's be honest, on the mat, that's really hard. So some people have to go here. That's fine. So here we go. I take an inhale, exhale to come up, and then you pump. And I see people doing like these little pumps where they pump really slow. Please don't pump those arms like you're really trying to move the air. And they're between 6 and 12 inches. So it's up and down. I see a lot of people now doing the 100 up here. I don't know where that's coming from. It's over here. And then you do 10 cycles of breathing and you come down and you transition right into the roll up. So I go down and my ankles flex. My arms go overhead. I can grab my pole, right? Before we get into that, 10 cycles of breathing, longest round shape. The eyes are forward. Your hypermobile bodies will look all over the room. Give them a place to look. Because if people feel it in their neck, it's quite possible because they're looking around. So it should be really nice on the neck. It shouldn't feel like you're there. It is not a chin to chest because we actually want space. So you curl the head and chest up and there's space there, right? We're not that. They feel to breathe, they feel to talk. The arm pumps themselves are meant to try to destabilize your center. So as you pump, if they start to bounce their head or bounce their ribs, that is information for us, for them to feel that they actually don't have their center connected. They're in the positions. They've got all the spine is somewhat flexed. They are moving their arms, but they're not connected. So use it as information for you because you can give some cues or corrections, but sometimes it's like, it's the first exercise. It's not actually supposed to be perfect every time. Today's 100, when we all got started, was very different than the 100 I just did now. And it'll be different than the 100 I do at 3, right? Like it's just going to feel different. So your 6 a.m. client 100 is not going to look as good as a 3 p.m. client's 100 based on the warmth of the body. Some things to note. Joe never taught 100 in tabletop. No, not to a beginner. No, not to anyone. He never taught tabletop. He would actually consider that a chair. And he had a whole rant about chairs. So I don't actually ever teach people tabletop for the 100. Here's what I do. If they cannot lift their legs up off the ground yet, or they arch to do it and then it's just a hot mess, I can leave their legs down. And they can work their legs and they can work their inner thighs and they can focus on the length of their spine. And one day they'll just float them up. And I promise you, it does happen. I had an 84-year-old client who would do her 100 with her legs down, and she's doing it and she hated it. She always makes sure I knew she hated it. And then one day her legs floated right up, eye level. She kind of looked like a very pulled tight corpse doing the 100. I used to teach in LA, guys. So neck was lifted, boobs were new, face was pulled, but the rest of the body was still 84. And so she's doing the 100. And I said, oh, she's like, oh, my legs are up. I said, oh, where do you feel it? She was like, I feel my abs working. And I was like, great. So like they will levitate up. If they're really working their legs and it's truly connected to their center, they will just lift. And that's really cool, right? But if they lift one leg at a time, then we're just like, we're not in the center. And it's not that I'm going to correct it all the time, especially if it's a group, I will just notice it. And I'm like, okay, noted. We are always doing the right leg first. Maybe they need a ball, maybe they need a towel, maybe they need a barbell to hold on to, right? So I'll have the legs down. If their lower back can't handle that, because I do understand long legs can pull on some people's back, guess what they can do? They can have their feet on the ground pulling back, and they can do the 100 here. So tailbone, the crown of the head is in the exact same position, and my hamstrings are working. So this isn't overworking. Because here, guess what this is doing? Guess what this isn't doing? So we're never, ever, ever setting people up for the ability to hold their legs out here without using this. And so if you were taught tabletop, it's not wrong. Please don't think that like you've taught everyone wrong. What my goal is in our time together is to understand if we're making changes to the exercises. Think of it as a loan from a bank. That's how it was always taught to me from the second training that I did. It was Rachel Taylor Siegel. She's retired from teaching, but if you ever can see her on a workshop schedule, she is the loveliest human. She's got so much love for Pilates. She, even when I studied with her, would be at other people's workshops learning. Just like really lovely. And she set through ascribed modifications as a loan from the bank. And so Joe would teach you the exercise. This is the 100. And if you couldn't do it, he would give you other things to do, right? He would have your exercises. So if I ask them to do the 100, and I'm not asking an 80-year-old to lift their legs up, I can kind of figure that out, right? But I'm certainly not going to make an NFL player be in tabletop. I'm not going to have Sally Joe, my hiker. She hikes 100 miles. I'm not going to be like, leave your legs in tabletop. Like, she's strong. It's going to be messy, right? It's not going to be good, but it's going to reveal, like Cordelia was saying, or the mat work reveals what people need. It's going to reveal, and I don't have to correct it today. I can actually understand it. So when you're going to modify something, you want to think about, is this modification ever going to get them to the exercise? Like at some point with layered versions of it, is it ever going to get them there, or is it a Band-Aid? Now, look, if you're teaching a class of 30 people, it's like you can't help everyone. So you want to be safe. But but also if you have a smaller group of people, let's teach them about their body. So I will have people start with their legs down. And I can then squeeze, if it's a private, I can put my finger between their heels and I can see, like, do they keep their heels together? If they do, then I can even start to lift their legs for them while they're doing the 100, right? So there's different ways we can do it based on a private, on a class, but the legs being down is going to lift them up. The legs being bent will still strengthen their back of their legs. It's not certainly going to help them lift their legs yet, but it's still going to activate the back of their legs for things we need to do in the ab series. So we're not completely taking them into a payday loan. So loan interest for my Europeans in the US, we can have SBA loans of a 2% interest rate, and we have payday loans of a 40% interest rate. Brad and I were just sent a credit card with a 33% interest rate. You guys, we have an amazing credit score. So the credit card companies have lost their minds. 33% interest rate, right? Like, so that credit card is never getting paid off if you're doing the minimum, right? And if you think about a modification, it's like paying the minimum on a loan. You want the lowest interest rate because someday you're paying the loan off. So always think about that. Cool. So that's your 100. You're going to roll down you're going to lower down, right, into roll up. So I flex the ankles and grab my pole, and I take my arms back as far as I can. And if you don't have a pole, that's fine, but I love pole. It helps keep the wrist straight. And I pull this pole apart. Why? That arm back connection we talked about. Then I'm going to lift the head and chest up and over. Oh my gosh. The first one always is hard. And then I like to use my strap. So here we go. We go up. If you can, you keep your arms and ears at the same level. That's more advanced, right? So right here, pulse 3 times. I'm not pulsing over here. Do you see my pelvis Sally Joe does this. Okay, she knew already. She saw it. We're only going to go as far forward as my tailbone is reaching down, not under, just down. And I'm going stretch, stretch, stretch. I have the longest round shape. And I'm going to roll down. If I keep my arms by my ears, I have more weight to go down, to resist, right? If you're new, you take the arms here, you roll up. That helps you get up. Totally fine for a newbie. If I roll down, leave my arms here, it's easier, right, than that. So the goal is, if they're new, obviously the arms can be in front of the body. If they're more advanced, they try to lift their head and their arms at the same time. Oh my God. And they pull. If their shoulders get in their ears, that's still a round, but it's at the longest round shape. No, you can see that got shorter. I like hung out, right? So that's what you want to think about. Legs are together. They're together. Now, if we use a magic circle, which I'll show you on Sunday with props, the legs will be apart, and that helps you get the outer hips, which helps keep the legs down, but you'll have to, on your own, activate your inner thighs. But the inner thighs help access the lower abs. If you squeeze your legs together and exhale on the hardest part, guess what? You can come up. Because if my legs squeeze together and my booty squeezes in, these can't overreact. Not that the hip flexors don't work, it's that they're not overly working. Yeah. These bones here, we talked about with Sally doing the spine stretch forward. If they touch the thighs, you can tell yourself you've lost your length. So the hip points and the thighs have to stay away from each other. So they're not going back, they're just going up. And it makes you work all these muscles. Yeah. Okay. So you pulse 3 times, you roll down, the arms can go back as far, they can even touch the floor as long as you don't arch back, right? So wherever it is, 3 of those. Then we do the roll over. So I'm longer, so I have to pull my arms to straight-ish, right? I'm going to reach into my handles. If you don't have handles, this is where I even like a pull. You can pull this pull apart, and I can go over, right? You can pull that dowel apart. You could do with a TheraBand as well. If you have a mat, like a yoga mat, you could pull the mat apart. When we're in Cambodia, that's what we do to get ourselves over. But we just want that wide upper back. So the legs go over. Now, the goal is that they touch the floor. But if they touch the floor like this, that's not doing anything for us. They have to touch the floor because my back reached them to the floor. And that's where it's going to go today. Flex the ankles, point the toes, roll it down, circle together without arching the back, and you go over. So the space between the thighs and the stomach is the same from here to here. It's the same space. So again, if the legs can't go like that, because that would just be like sticking your butt out on the roll up. So we're going to reach, I'm going to reach, flex for an extra stretch, open, point, and roll down. The reverse is a point over, flex to squeeze together for the extra stretch, and point. Could I touch the floor? Certainly, someday, if I can do it from the back. It feels so far. Cool. Okay.
Leslie, quick question on roll-ups from Miranda. It's a good one. If you slide forward or back, does that mean your hip points are moving or you're not working from your center?
Oh, yeah, it's a great question. If you're sliding back and forth with the strap or without the strap, it's basically a sign that your hip flexors are dominating where you're going. So if you're like when you go back, if the legs slide with you, like the hip flexors are kind of like, think of it as like a crane lowering you down, right? If you're coming up and the legs, everything's going forward, we're not anchoring enough and pulling back enough. So the answer is you're not working your whole center correct. It's probably a domination of hip flexors, even some of that rectus, but like not the full center. The roll up, somebody did a test like decades ago that it has so much oblique work. Like the amount of oblique work in the roll up and teasers, people don't realize. And that's why Joe is such a genius. Because if you have this bar and you pull it apart and you're reaching from your back, guess what you get? Lats. Guess what also is there? Obliques. So if you have your lats engaged, you get obliques, boom, everything is working. So if you're sliding back and forth, it's definitely a sign that the back of the legs are not working and something in your entire center is off. Now, please don't just like go slower to control that. Slow is often torture. So you want to just like what I would just say is like try with each rep to get better and better. And after 3 to 5, if it's not, we move on and we ask ourselves, like, what do I need? Right. So if I need my hamstrings to come on more, it's not going to be taught in the roll up. But when we get to single leg kicks, certainly get taught there. Shoulder bridge, taught there. So like that makes sense. We're going to use other exercises to get the strength we need for tomorrow's roll up. Answer Miranda's question.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so it's your turn. So I'm gonna watch you guys who want to do 100 roll up and roll over or any amount of those. I'm gonna watch you guys do it. And Sally, you can use the fun mat. So just try like do your 100, do 3 to 5 roll ups if you're doing the rollover, 2 and 3 in each direction. Yeah. Oh, did you start from standing?
Oh,
Because Dan and Allison did. Yeah, Melanie, just be mindful of like roll back bar, trapeze pulls.
Sally, that's the challenge being there in person. Enjoy.
Nothing gets past me. Vicky, I like how you're doing with your legs. Hug your ankles towards each other a bit more. Yes, ma'am. Miranda, it looks like your lower back is arching. Can your, yeah, yeah, there you go. Cordelia, legs together, babe. Yep. Yep, get that strap around the base of your foot. There you go. Allison, pull your bar apart more. Yep, straight wrist, babe. Squeeze your legs together, Miranda. Use that strap, babe. Dan, I bet you can keep your arms by your ears. Not with your shoulders, though. Just like, yeah, on your way up and down. So go down. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then come back up with your arms right there. Head and arms. Oh my gosh, that made your roll up better, Dan. You were cheating yourself. Kimberly, when your legs go overhead, chin up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Point those toes, Melanie, on the way down. Yeah. Cordelia, does that mat have handles in it or no? No handle. It does? Use the handles. Yeah. How'd that feel, Kimberly? Good?
Definitely learned some places like just the looking up thing, and catching myself with my arms going too far back and
Yeah,
finding more
good.
length. So more juice to squeeze out.
Good, good. Cordelia, see if you can get your, don't look at me because you're upside down, but see if you can get your hips over your shoulders more. And that was what takes your legs further down, not your legs drop. So don't drop your legs. Nope. Nope. Open. Yeah, that's as far as they go. Open your legs. You guys see what she's doing? She's like, okay, I'm over. Now let me drop my legs. We want her back to bend her, put her legs where we want it. Yeah, open your legs and roll down. Yeah, so whenever anyone goes upside down, you guys, as soon as their hips go down, their chin goes up like this, goes like this, goes down. So their hips go up and their chin goes like this. And that actually flattens the neck. So it's a hard habit to get out of, but like anytime anyone's going overhead, watch their chin. If they don't keep their chin up, right, then you're going to have a hard time for them standing on their shoulders. Yeah. Yeah. Well, questions. So you guys got to do them. Any other questions come up? Does anyone want to see anyone do it? This is what's so fun about like in person's always really amazing, right? It really, really is, but also not accessible. Second, you get to see all these different bodies move on all kinds of different mats. Cordelia had a question.
Sorry, what was that? When I was going over the hips, do what?
So I'm going to show you what you were doing. And then, okay, because I think that might just be easier. So, and by the way, you were doing this. It doesn't mean no one else was doing it. And also like I spot it because everyone does it. So you got your hips up and you got to here and then you went like that with the legs. Okay. And so what I'm saying is when wherever you start the legs going up, once the legs get to here, that's the space between our thighs and our stomach we want to keep. So if I want to get my legs towards the floor, I have to bend my back towards that way. I can't go over. Okay, that's as far as I can go. Drop. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So either you lifted your hips too soon when the angle was just more open, or we got to stretch your back more.
You know, actually just doing that correction really opened up the lower back.
Yeah, everyone wonders why we do like you can't believe, oh my God, in classical Pilates, they do overhead and roll up or rollover in the third exercise. I'm not warm. It's supposed to be for the back to stretch it. It's a stretching exercise. It's really, really great. Yeah. The most demoralizing exercise followed closely by the crisscross. Vicky, I can't wait to see them both on you. I bet you're doing better than you're giving yourself credit for. And I think you have a friend in Heather. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first was like studying this stuff with Jay, and I was in a group of 5 men, which always makes Jay happier. And just love men. And also love my husband. He's like, do you want to shave his beard off? And I was like, please keep your hands off. That's my husband. But at any rate, like it can be, especially if you're seeing a body do an exercise you can't do yet, it can feel demoralized. Like I can't do this, but like also what's really cool, what I did was like, I just used it as like they were like my spirit animal on an exercise. I'd go, okay, I'm doing Fernando's rollover. How would Fernando do a rollover? And like kind of just like took that in. And so when I got to see all of them this summer, I was like, Fernando, you trained me well. And like because I would borrow, like, oh, they can do it. I can see it in them. What if I was them? How would that feel? And like if you can do that, it really changes how you teach your other clients as well, because you can feel it in your body. Like, how does that feel that doesn't feel very good in my body. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Guys, sorry. I feel like I'm asking so many questions. Just one quick one, because this is a new mat and I have never used handles before or straps.
Great. Mm-hmm.
When you have your arms up and the rollover, are your arms supposed to be straight, bent? What's the placement?
Yes. They're supposed to be, sorry, Cornelia, that didn't translate to the UK. Yes, is the answer. They're supposed to be straight, bent, long, as long as they're reaching. And some people have tight shoulders, so bent is the best reach they can give me. And some people are so flexible that if they go too straight, they're just hanging. So you kind of play, and I will just say, if you take OPC class with me enough, you'll see my arms are at different lengths all the time. Like I'll film 3 classes at a moment. And so by the 3rd class, I'm like, woo, what's the first class? I might not even do it. So you won't know because the way they roll out, you don't know which one was first, second, or third, but like, I just know. So I would just say like, The answer is like, where can you reach from? If they're straight and you can't reach, then you bend. But it's a reach up, and it's a reach up from way down here. Cool? Cool. And you're not, you guys, I said this at the kickoff call, but I'm gonna repeat it. You're not allowed to apologize for asking questions. Unless you missed an office hour, then you have to apologize to Meredith for making her work harder. Okay. You can apologize to Meredith, but when you have a question here, you don't apologize, because actually it makes sure that I'm teaching you everything we wanted to cover, and it makes sure that you're learning it the way that you're supposed to learn it. So please ask the questions, and no apologies are necessary. Anything else on the 100 roll up, roll over? Yeah,
I
Melanie.
have just a question about the rollover. I have a couple clients that struggle with just that hip lift. What would be the exercises that would kind of work them into that?
Great
That
question. We're going to do the rolling like a ball next,
Okay.
I think. Wait, no, we do single leg circles next, then it's rolling like a ball. Sometimes I get it, I forget. So I would want to see the rolling like a ball.
Okay.
And what I would be wanting to see, and when we cover it, is like, are their feet getting away from their seat? Is their seat getting up over their shoulders? Can they balance, or do they get stuck? What does their head do? So really rolling like a ball is their gateway drug to that.
Okay.
And then obviously open, and then I would need to know, like, what are their hamstrings? Like, are they super tight? So if they're super tight, good fucking luck. Like, you may as well skip it, do rolling like a ball, and then work the open leg rocker, right? So roll over, just because it's the third in the order. I think it's one of the last overhead mat exercises one learns. To me, it's as hard as control balance, right? Now, so I would say jackknife would be their first overhead exercise, because you don't have to go up. You can just go over. So if you introduce jackknife and they're able to go over, then in the rollover place, you can have them do some extra jackknives, not the up, just go over and roll down, over and roll down. And you can work that. Yeah. Eventually we'll have access to the Cadillac and we can do some tower, right? And we can do some rolling stomach massage, but rolling like a ball, how's that going? And hamstring flexibility is going to be key. Then the other thing is, and something I really think is important to talk about is, like, most people, it's not their abs that they can't go overhead. It's their shoulders.
Mm.
So in rolling like a ball, if they can't balance for 2 seconds, and again, like I said with Miranda, it's not that you always balance for 2 seconds, but it's a way that I can see, like, okay, hold it there, 1, 2. Oh, that collapsed, that fell apart. Or they came out of it. If they can't stand on their shoulders for 2 seconds and roll like a ball, it tells me it's not their booty up all the time. It's maybe that, and what's their shoulder flexibility like? What's their shoulder mobility like? What's their shoulder strength like? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people, their upper back is so tight, we can't stand on it. So we got to work on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. So let's do single leg circles, rolling like a ball. And we'll do the first 2 of the ab series. So that would be like 4. All right. So, okay. All right. So we would have done, and I like to show you the transitions, because you guys, the transitions are not something that, like, a beginner is ever going to know, but the transitions make the practice more advanced. It also means you get to do more exercises in a period of time, right? And the transitions keep all the things that we gathered up. So I don't ever expect the first rep to be great at any exercise, but by the 3rd or 4th rep, we've got all we can get, and we need to take it with us into the next exercise, which will make the next exercise first rep a little better, right? So you'll have done your last rollover and your legs are together, and then you just leave one leg up in the sky and you lower the other one down. The foot flexes, and there are 2 single leg circles. The one that most people will do is just this one, where you go across, around, and up. Across, we always go across the midline first. I'm watching the foot. If the foot turns in to go across, they're like doing a sickling thing, or they'll do this. They'll circle their foot to go around. They, like, their ankle is directing traffic. It's got to be from this hip going across, down, around, and up. If their leg cannot go straight up, guess what they can do? down here, right? I'd rather them stay in the strength of the hamstring than be this bent, shaky version of hip flexor circling the leg. So I prefer an oval to this. And then they can always, as they're doing it on here, if they get more warm, they can try how every circle is an opportunity to get higher. Okay. So 3 to 5 in each direction. You go across the midline first. Why? To gather up the center. It's the same as double leg stretch. Everything starts in and then goes out. So we go across to gather up the center so we can see how far the leg can go out to the side without this hip lifting. The bottom foot is flexed. If you happen to be the perfect size of a mat to have handles and a strap, use it. But I'm not that person. So at any rate, I'm reaching up here. Obviously, if you can't do that, you can be down here. The other single leg circle, and Jay didn't teach me this until we're in Hawaii. And he's like, I told you that years ago. And I was like, no. And also, there's 7 of us here who learned from you in different years, and they too didn't know it. So there is this version where you actually lift the hip, go across, anchor the hip down, take it up. So obviously more advanced. So you get a twist of the spine, and then you got to, so it's harder. It's a lot more glute med for sure. It's a lot of stomach. But look, it's very much a half corkscrew because the hip, so it's teaching that hip lift we're going to need for corkscrew and for hip circles. So I teach everyone the hip down version, but once they've added corkscrew into their practice and hip circles, I love, like, if they can twist their body. So remember, it's a twist. My shoulders stay down. So I go out to the side for the reverse. The hip takes it across. Now, the problem with this is everyone does this. They go out and then they use the groin muscles to take it across, and then the hips last. So you got to go hip, right? It has to initiate from here. It can't initiate from the foot. You do both sides. You do not have to do the scissor switch. If you're someone with a hip click, it's because the back of your leg isn't working, your glute meds aren't working, you're just doing it from your quad. And we can talk about that when we use the magic circle some more. But again, you can go ovals. It's not that I want you to make smaller circles. Again, smaller circles is like a credit card loan as opposed to an SBA loan, because smaller circles just gets rid of the click, but it doesn't actually teach the body how to not have a click. Okay. So then we take the legs together. There's 2 ways to transition for the next thing. They can do a full roll up, right? But if you know their roll ups suck, we can actually just do a double leg stretch into rolling like a ball, right? So they can roll up and bend in, or they can just bend in. Notice that my hips stayed right there. A lot of people are taught to then lift the hips to the front of the mat. I've got plenty of room, so it's totally fine. Okay, so here we go. We're rolling like a ball. Obviously, if they can't grab their shins, they can always grab their thighs, but we don't want the feet to get away. So I probably would put something like a ball here to keep that engagement while their hands are here. But we want to activate. So someday, yes, the goal is that you're this tight ball and you can keep everything together. That's not where my practice is, and most people isn't. So any version of the longest round shape, so not here, right? And then I'm pushing my legs forward. So this is turning on, and I'm pulling my shins back from here. So you should feel this, right? All these muscles, like a row on the gym row. Okay, what does that do for me? Well, when I roll back, now I have shoulders to stand on. Okay, I have shoulders to stand on. So in rolling like a ball, what people do, they go like this with their eyes. And then they get stuck, right? So look at your feet and go back. Watch your feet stay the same distance away from your butt. Come up. Right? So how do I know that they could go overhead? Ready? We go back. 1,000, 2, 1,000. Then come up without touching. They didn't have to use momentum. If they go 1,000, 2, 1,000, right? That's not it. Like they stand on the shoulders. Can the head touch? Yes, but there's not resting weight on it. Okay, so the weight is on the shoulder girdle, not on the neck, on the shoulder girdle. So I really love this. Yes, sometimes I'll put a magic circle around people's knees so they get their butt on, especially if they come up and they do that little wobble wobble. That's a sign that they've lost these muscles in their stomach, right? So like a ball, such a great exercise. If your back feels really tight one day, it is so good to just keep doing those roll and like really try to round up and stay up and stay up and stay up and then go. It's such a good stretch. If you read The Caged Lion, John Steele talks about how his back was bothering him and Joe made him do rolling like a ball. And he's like, this really hurts. He's like, keep doing it. And then like 3 days later, he had no back pain. Like, so, obviously they have to be able to have a flexion in their spine, but like it can be really, really therapeutic. So after rolling like a ball, we transition to single leg stretch. You can start with whatever leg you want, but the outside hand goes on the ankle and the opposite hand goes on the shin here. And then you stretch this leg out and you go to the tips of the shoulder blades. Why are the hands like this? Because if the hands are like this, I can pull my knee out to the side. So the hands like this keep the leg along the midline of the body. When I pull in, it's a stretch of the hip. Pull, pull. But my leg isn't relaxed. My leg is pushing into my hands. So as I pull on it 2 times, this is active. Why? So that when it releases, these muscles are actually on to support my leg out there. That means no clicks. Pull, pull, reach, pull, pull, reach. Notice that my legs are not doing this. Drop, drop, right? It's not, we're not drawing circles here. It's reaching out, hitting that spot and reaching out. And the arms are pulling from the upper back. So it's arm back connection, right? I'm just going to rest because I've been talking and looking. Okay, so normally you go right into double leg kick or double leg stretch. Obviously, if people are new, they're new to connecting to their abs. Of course, take them out of it. Just let their head rest. Look right and left. Double leg stretch. We're now in a rolling like position on our back. This is rolling like a ball right here. The legs reach out, the arms reach up. When the arms circle, I see everyone get lazy. Don't do that. Reach and gather up strength. Imagine you're in water. You should feel your lats turning on here to pull those arms around and grab and exhale, exhale. Right? The other thing to watch is what the feet are doing. They go out. If they drop down when the knees bend to come in, cheating. They go out and they pull back in on the same trajectory. Oh, reach, and you use those pulls to push all the air out. Reach. Whew. Such a good exercise. Amazing. Okay. Questions? Single leg circles, rolling a ball, single leg stretch, double leg stretch.
Nothing in the chat.
Great. Okay. Your guys are going to move and then we'll talk again. So, whew, who says you need to do cardio? Just do some mat work. Let's see it. Let's see your single leg circles, rolling like a ball, single leg stretch, double leg stretch. Oh, I love that everyone did a transition. So fun. Miranda, use your handles, babe. You've got them. Yeah, so just slide up there. Yep, and then push. Now use the handles to find your low ribs on the mat. Push from there. Yes, ma'am. There you go. Kimberly, as your leg goes around, I would love your opposite rib to stay down. Yeah. So like maybe the circles aren't as big. Vicky, take some zest on the way up. Around and up. Around and up. Yeah, a little more zest. You know it. So there you go. Miranda, see if you can get your feet a little closer to your seat and keep it. And Dan, see if your shoulders, like pull your arms from your back. Right now, it looks like your shoulders are forward and up. Robert, lift your elbows and pull from your upper back more. Yeah, more upper back, less front of your shoulders. Yes, thank you, sir. Single leg circles, roll like a ball, single leg stretch, double leg stretch. Melanie, can you get your feet closer to your seat when you're upside down? So squeeze those heels together. And then, yeah, more butt up, booty up, not feet up. There you go. Put your sit bones on the ceiling. Sit bones on the ceiling. There you go. Yeah. Allison, gather more strength on the circle around. It looks more like choreography right now. Like I want you in, yes, ma'am, like you're in water. And gather up strength. Yes. Mm-hmm. Vicky, elbows up. Yep. Show off your armpits a little bit. There you go. And Miranda, curl a little higher when your arms go back. Yeah, there you go.
Cordelia had a great question. For leg circles,
Yeah.
what if lowering the leg means they arch their back?
You mean when the leg circles around, Cordelia? They arch
Yeah.
their back. It's definitely a sign they're not in their center. It's
Yeah.
definitely a sign that they're like psoas, hip flexors are kind of holding the leg up from the top like a marionette doll. So I'll show you like if you're teaching it private, I'm going to use Sally and you can see what I would do. And this is also how I kind of help with hip clicks as well. Lie down, Sally. Take your arms on the handles. Take one leg up. Yeah, well, because your back lives in an arch. I mean, by the way, you're supposed to have a lower gutted curve, like it's there, but like it, we don't want to, it's some of it's too much, right? So, first of all, what I would do, because her hip is actually hiked. And so, anyone who has that lower back stuff, their hip's probably hiked when their leg is up. So, I can actually like pull you a little bit and then we're going to lift it up. Okay, now push into me. Yeah, push more into me. Yeah, can you use that to help? Now reach your arms from your low ribs. Oh, not, yeah, there you go. And now push into me from your butt. Yes. Okay, so that hopefully helps her get more center. Now circle into me more. Oh, you let that push into me. Come on, make my arm work. Let's go. Work, work, work. So that I can make the back of their legs stay on. Reverse. Push into me. Push more into me. And that will get rid of hip clicks. And she's still doing more arching than I want, but we can get more of the back of the leg to work. And then we can figure that lower back out somewhere else. Yeah. But otherwise, if they're doing it on their own and like they're circling around in their back arches, go ahead and do whatever you do in their back arches. See if you can, it's going to feel like you're tucking, but reach your tailbone towards your heels. There you go. Now circle and keep reaching your tailbone towards your heels. So we can reduce, like if it's a class or you know what I mean? I can kind of like tell her bones what I want them to do. Because if her back's arching, it's because her hip points are coming like this. So we can either tell them to pull to her ribs or we can talk to the tailbone and reach to her heels. Yeah, different? Yeah, took the click up. Oh, good. She got rid of her click too. Cordelia, does that make sense? Did that answer the question?
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Great. Yeah. I mean, like, because her spine is that shape and because of her muscle memory, it's going to take us months to get that to be more natural for her. But the cool thing is that like as the teachers who are doing this, you guys have the time, like you guys can nerd out about your own practice. Your clients, it might take longer because if they only come once a week, there's only so much we can do. But we can set their bones into place. We can use feedback, right? So inherently, we made her circle smaller, but we made them smaller because we turned muscles on. Yeah. Other questions on single leg circles, rolling like a ball, single leg stretch, double leg stretch.
Feet position for the ab series of 5. Your heels are together, but your toes aren't that flared apart, is how it looks to me. And I always screw this up because I feel like my toes go apart and then I lose anything I'm trying to do. So, what do your feet look like when you're doing this?
Yeah, so for the ab series, so there's no such thing as Pilates V, everyone. Now, can you use that term? Sure. Am I going to be disappointed in you? No. Because guess what? It's a great way of saying turned out. But the actual reality is a lot of people are doing too much turnout. They're kind of doing a dancer's turnout. So dancer's first position is not Pilates V. Like your anatomical position of your femurs in neutral is that slight turnout. And in that slight turnout, your femurs could even be parallel. Like your body can do great things, right? So what I would just say is like in single leg stretch, you're trying to keep the leg along the midline. So for the most part, that leg is parallel on its way out. Now, if it's slightly turned out in its neutral position, that's also fine. Like I think mine is like a slight turnout, right? Also gets us more butt. In double leg stretch, your heels are together, your toes are apart, so your knees are apart because the knees follow the second toe. So that when your legs go out, they're going to be in that slight turnout, right? In single straight leg stretch, in theory, you're parallel, but even I'm that slight turnout. Double straight leg stretch, the legs are in the slight turnout. And crisscross, it's back to that single leg stretch position, but you don't have the hands. So that neutral position of the femurs is slight turnout. So I would say you can default to that. What I don't want to see is people overly turn out. And then they're going, well, I'm using my butt, but they're really using their like upper butt. And they're just like gripping in their sacrum, right? Like we want to use the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. What else, guys?
Um, so in regards to like hip clicking, for me personally, I single leg circle, I don't have a hip click, but like single and double leg stretch, I do. Does that
Mm.
mean, and I just don't know, am I just not
Can,
connecting to my leg?
yeah, you're not, but can you just do it for us?
Yeah. Okay. Which one? The
Let's do
single leg
single.
stretch?
Let's do your hip clicky ones. Do it like 2 reps of each. Heather, can
Okay.
you spotlight her for us, please? Thank you. Okay.
Like it clicks there, it clicks
And it's
there.
clicking on the way
Like,
out or the way in?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
way out.
Okay. So yes. Okay. I see what you, okay. Hold it. Hold, don't move. Get your leg where it was. Y'all, her knee is hyperextended. So I can
This
see a
one?
wrinkle. Yeah, I can see a wrinkle above your legging that wasn't there. So what that means is when you get your leg out there and you lock your knee out, you turn everything off. See the wrinkle
Mm,
below the knee? Oh, don't fix it. Just we're all looking
here,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And you see that? So that's a sign that you're like, okay, now I'm straight. But you didn't reach from the back of your leg. You reached from your knee.
Mm,
Okay. So
yeah,
now right now, what I
yeah.
want you to do is pull on your leg that you have. Push that
Hmm.
leg into your hands like rolling like a ball. Push it forward, like it's trying to break away. Okay, do you feel the back
Okay.
of your leg turn on?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
All right. You're going to push from the back of your leg. So I don't care if your leg gets straight, but push the back of your leg forward to switch. Okay. Now feel your hamstring stay on from that right leg that we turned on. Feel it. A pull on your left leg, but make your left leg push into your arms more. And then
Okay.
switch, but from the back of your leg. Switch.
It didn't click. It clicked
Yeah.
there, but like the
Uh-huh.
other
Yep.
two, it didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Do you
Yeah.
see? But look at her knee. It hyperextended. So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean soft knees, Miranda. That's not what we want. I don't want you to take that
Okay.
away. What it means is you have to think about your leg straightening from the hamstring, from the back of the leg, not from the knee. I'm going to use Sally, Joe. Heather, will
Okay.
you switch the spotlight to my mat, please? So I'm going to get real personal with you, okay? Okay, grab one leg. Bring just do your single leg stretch. Yeah. So this one's gonna go out. Okay. So this has to be on. So Miranda, what happens is when you lock your knee out, I don't know if you can even hyperextend. I think that's in your body. But yeah, when she locks out, this is off. Can't be on. Because when you hyperextend, it has to turn everything up. So you're gonna soften your knee, push into me from your back of your leg. Push, 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 push. Okay, great. Now this is holding your leg up now, yeah? So what I had her do is push your leg into your hands as you pull on it. Okay, so that's on. Okay. So now when you push your leg out, push from here. Reach your leg from there. This has to stay on, so you can only go as far as this can stay on. Okay, switch. So that this is holding the legs up. Yeah. Yeah, but make sure you use your arms too. Yeah, I know. Yes. And then move the thigh bone away. So now we're getting all of it. So it's not that we're turning the quads off, they're still on. That's just how it works. But this has to be on. Yes. So she's saying like the trick is like the reason you have your arms here is you're pulling from your back, but you're pushing from the back of the leg. So there's this tension here. It's called tensegrity, right? And so then it explodes out and it has this to do it. Push out from that. Yes, ma'am. So double leg stretch, where you probably also have the click, Miranda, heels together, toes apart. Okay. So pull on your legs, but push your legs into your arms, like rolling a ball. Yes. Now push your legs out from here and then circle around and pull in from your stomach. So the hip clicking on the double legs, what's probably happening is these are pulling in and she's going to pull in from her stomach and her butt. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. That makes sense to my hip clickers. Miranda, that makes
Awesome.
sense?
Thank you. That was great.
I didn't see your double leg stretch though. You say you click on your double leg stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see that really quick?
Yeah.
So you're doing Mary Catherine Gallagher Superstar. It's too young for you. So you're gonna so keep your chest up as your arms go back. Yes. Okay, circle around. Now grab your legs and now push your legs into your hands here. Push your legs forward and pull from your back. Pull, pull, pull. Now reach. And then circle around. Don't look up. There you go. Look at your stomach. There you go. And again, reach. And circle. Better. Reach.
Yeah.
Explode out. Yeah. Do you feel that? How's it
I
going?
feel my legs a lot more.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have a couple things going on with your double leg stretch, Miranda, that could cause a click because your chest wants to go back. And if you look up, it's Molly Shannon, Catholic schoolgirl, and like she always is like, right? And like that's what I always think about whenever anyone does double leg stretch and their chest goes down when their arms go back, they're like superstar. And so we want is to keep that chest up. That might not be helping with what's going on with your hip flexors. So the chest has to stay up, and then those legs need to be more active on the way out and in. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. What else, loves? So, a couple things I saw was when you guys were pulling on your single leg stretch and double leg stretch, the elbows were sad. So we want them to be wide, just like in rolling like a ball. They're like their own circle. Okay. And that's going to help you with hug on the reformer, right? It's going to help with crab that's coming up. So things like that. And you're pulling from back here, way back here. You can all feel your armpit muscles. The other things I was seeing is just when you're learning choreography, I fully expect you to go slow. If you know the choreography, I want you to play with the rhythm. Like if there's breath in the exercise, use the breath. If you're holding your breath, it's a sign you probably slowed down too much, right? So like use the breath. On single leg circles, it's around and up and around and up, and you stop at the top, right? So it's not like around and around and around. It's around and up, around and up. And I always forget to stop. So just so you know, if you look back and you're like, Leslie didn't stop, calling myself out. I have to do it too. So like, but it's up from the stomach. And if you can't get it up to stop, it's information for us, right? It's like, oh, okay. Like, where else can I practice that? What's going on there? Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's do single straight leg stretch, double straight leg stretch, crisscross spine stretch forward. Do all four of those. And then if we have time, we'll do more, but I think we'll be in the Q&A workout time that I want to do. So I think we're up perfectly on time. So way to go, team. I love it. We're not feeling rushed. Okay, let's do those. So I'm going to transition from double leg stretch Okay. Um, so we were doing our double leg stretch, right? Last one, circle around, and you just take the legs up, okay? And you want you to grab as high as you can on one leg. Now, I'm a hyperextender, so I can push my knee forward. You want to make sure that the leg is straight, but it's the thigh that's pushing forward, okay? So I'm creating space here. And then my arms are not doing a bicep curl. So it's not about how much you bend your elbows here, but how much you pull from your back. Pull, pull, switch. The free leg can go as low as this is on. Okay. If I'm here, it's just hanging off my, stuff. So I got to reach. It's like I'm pushing down into something to reach. The inner thighs are working to switch the legs. Okay. I should also, Sally, will you come here for a second? Push my leg down. Push it down. Push, 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 push. Okay. Yeah. So that's how you know it's connected. So now pick the leg up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Right? No, it's not Sally. We know. It's okay. We already know. Right? Isn't that fun? You could even pick my leg all the way up overhead. So you can pick my hips up. Pick me up. Oh my God. Right? Fun, right? Yeah. So if the leg is connected to the center, if it wasn't, she would have pushed my leg down and it just went to the ground. Okay. So, or like if they're doing it from their quad, it would just like push back up into her. But like if they're fully connected, they pull up. Cool. Okay. So for Allison and Dan and Kimberly and Robert, I expect you guys to play with that because you have partners in your room. Okay. So we have our single straight leg stretch, right? Then double straight leg stretch. Please, 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 please don't make me tell you this more than once. Interlace your hands. It matters. Put them behind your head. No earmuffs. Interlace, because now I can push my head into my hands. The back of my neck's on, so it's supporting the front of my neck, right? Then I'm going to lower the legs and lift the legs and lower the legs and lift the legs. And Joe would have fun with people. He would go, okay, lower him down as far as you can go, lift halfway up. Lower him down as far as you can go, lift 2/3 of the way up. Lower as far as you can go, lift all the way up, right? You can, what you'll see some people do is the legs come up and their chest goes down, or their legs go down and their chest goes down. The crown of the head is going to the ceiling all the time. Nothing is changing from here to here. Then you pull one knee in, one leg out, crisscross, not elbow to knee, armpit to knee. Armpit to knee. And I don't get to rest in between. I have to curl up and over. Ugh. Up and over. Oh my gosh. And then you just roll up to spine stretch forward, right? Yep, you're on camera. And so, hands between the legs, heels down, they're as wide as your mat. I think you're in the perfect spot. Thank you. All right, so then we get to see how we're doing now with our roll up almost, because it's a half version. So I'm going to slide my hands and push them into the mat and around, and I get to go as far forward as my hip bones don't touch my thighs. I get to go as far forward as I'm bending my spine and not flattening out. I'm also not rounding back to go forward. So this pelvis isn't going back, right? It's literally like a piece of toast going into a toaster, straight down. And when I go forward, my piece of toast is going straight down, straight down. And I get limited, but guess what? I get the stretch of my spine. It is not called hamstring stretch forward. It is called spine stretch forward, right? Oh, so good. Okay. Well, we're somehow not on Do Not Disturb. We blame Brad. He must have texted me. Okay. Questions on that? No? No. Okay. Melanie has one and then Sally has one. Go ahead. Go ahead, Melanie.
Single straight leg stretch. I teach a mat class every week, and there's a couple ladies that they just cannot. It's like, I don't, they're always bending their knee, like as they pull their leg in, they've got a bend in the knee.
Yeah. Are they grabbing their thigh?
Sometimes, but sometimes the calf.
Can they straighten their leg and in general, and they're just bending their knee because
In
like
general,
can they straighten their leg?
they struggle with it. This would be the
Yeah.
one they struggle with it the most, probably.
So I think it's more important to teach them about the thigh going forward than them pulling the leg in. So for
Okay.
them, I would focus on the push,
Okay.
right? So like, um, oh, and you know what? You just made me think of something. And Sally, don't forget your question. So, so yes, the action is pull, but I would instead, if they're grabbing here, tell them to push the leg forward, push,
Mm,
push, because they're going to activate this. So if they have a flexibility issue, the best way to create real flexibility over time is to activate the muscle while you work it. So if they push it forward and they push it forward, then we're going to eventually see the leg get straighter over time.
okay.
Okay. So that's what I would say. Some people will show me how flexible they are, and their leg is here. That's not the exercise. So we want space between the thigh and the pelvis. So I don't want them to pull their leg here because they look like this. And they're like, but look at my splits. And it's like, actually, I want this leg pushing so far forward, it's pulling them into their curl. Not off their back. I don't want them up here, but like they're not leaning back down here. They've got to be working. And so that split second switch is their stomach holding them up. But yeah, I would focus on the push with them to activate the hamstring. Um, if that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. And then just know that like they're clearly not auditory learners, and you might need to show them, like, you look like this, and I want this. So that is also something. You can also, similarly to what we do with the single leg circles, like go up there to them and make them push their heel into your hand. So push into me. Okay, push into me, right? And you can like switch and like get them to see like, oh, it should feel like that while I pull on it. Yeah. But I mean, like, yes. Here's a good thing is they can't hurt themselves doing it, Melanie. They're just not going to get stronger. So sometimes they like to do it the way they want, and you just have to go ugly Pilates, get used to it when they're ready to learn. Like when there's an exercise they really want to do, and you're like, well, so here's the thing. Remember how I told you to straighten your legs? Remember how I wanted you to not bend your knee? Because you don't do that exercise correctly, we can't do this one. Like I'm one of those teachers who's like really honest with people. Like, I want you to be here. You should be here. You have every right to want to do that exercise, but we have to do this one better, and you're not doing it yet. And so like I'm really honest with people, and with your sweetness, and you look at like people actually respect that a little bit. They might be frustrated, but like they respect it. Yeah. Cool. Um Cordelia. And then wait, Sally had a question. First Sally, Cordelia. First Sally, then Cordelia. Okay, what was your question, Sally?
For double straight leg stretch, we're lowering just as low until the back starts to arch. I feel like that's a problem. It's obviously a problem for me, but I sometimes I'm trying to figure out how low I let the legs go.
Yeah, so definitely don't let the back arch. So you might have to stop sooner. There's a magic circle exercise I'll show you this weekend when we get to props. That's going to be like your favorite way to warm up. The legs for you, you'll have to learn how to move the thighs away. So I think when we do these, let's like maybe move because I don't think you guys moved these yet. Let's move these, and I want you to think about the same muscles you did in your double leg stretch, like how you turn those muscles on before they moved away from you. Try that, Cordelia, and then I want you guys to move because I don't want us to miss out on that. So Cordelia.
So the opposite of Melanie. So I have a client who does this double straight leg stretch, but she rises up too high to meet her legs. Should I get her to come down and more? So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know
want her
where,
in teaser. I don't want her in tease. I definitely want her to be in the. I want the longest spine shape. And so I would actually use your hands to go, come back, come down to my hand, come down to my hand. Okay, find it there. Now hold there. Because it sounds like she's probably holding herself up too high from the wrong places.
Right. Where would
Right?
that be? I can't do it. I can't. She kind of, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah, that's way too high. So show me where you do your single straight leg stretch.
okay. Yeah, maybe she's copying me. Um,
Yeah. So go up as
yeah,
high as you can. Yeah. Okay, so I like where you're at. Now push your leg into your hand more and then your chest has to oppose that. So yeah, so your stomach has to work against that pull. There you go. Now, oh my gosh, look at you work, Cordelia. Yeah, pull, pull, push, push, pull, pull. Yeah, so it's pushing and it's pulling. It's pushing and it's pulling. Yes, ma'am. Elbows wider. Uh-huh. Yeah, so just show her. But I think you should use I think it's good to like go roll back, roll back, roll back, get your like so that she can feel with her hands. And then and like hold there. Now switch, you know? And if she
yeah,
can't hold there because she falls back, it's a sign that we have to strengthen her in her double leg stretch, probably.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, why don't you guys do your single straight leg, double straight leg, crisscross spine stretch forward. Oh, and then Allison has a question for lower lift. Okay, great. We won't forget that. Allison, I bet you can get to your ankle. And Dan, I bet you can curl yourself a little higher. You look like you're leaning back. Yes. Vicky, push your legs into your hands enough to curl your head a little higher. Push your leg forward a little more. There you go. Yes. Now try to keep that as you switch. Yeah. Uh-huh. Miranda, I can tell you're trying to use the back of your leg to push your leg away. Gwyneth, can you get your leg straighter as it lifts up? Yes. Now, when you lift, oh, there you go. Yes, girl. Vicky, curl a little higher as your legs go away. Yes. Oh, Allison has to curl off her armpit for her crisscross, so she's cheating. Yeah. Are your hands interlaced, Sally? Okay. Then close your elbows a little bit and push your head into your hands more, and then curl up. Yes, there you go. Yes. Gwyneth, can you stay curled up as you twist to the other side? So stay that high and go to the other side. Yes, and stay that high and go to the other side. Yeah, there you go. Good. And then Vicky, you can do arms up, but can I see you put your arms down as well? Put your arms down. You could do it where you were doing it, but there, and then round forward. Yes, and now lift your hip points off your thighs. Push your tailbone down. Yes, ma'am. Oh, so good. And Miranda's going to curl higher too on the middle. Dan, can I see your spine stretch forward one more time? I missed it. Yes. Yeah. Flex your ankles more, Dan. Yeah. And you and Allison need to feel like you have T-Rex arms. So as you round forward, your arms should feel short. So they don't get to come forward with yeah. So you bend your spine, not your shoulders. Yes. Oh, Vicky lost her tailbone being down on that one. Sacrum down more, make sacrum down more, more, more. Yes, that's it, Vicky. Thank you. Good. Yes, Gwyneth, lift up really tall. Lift up, show me your tall. Yep. And then go forward again. Yep. Okay, right here. So Gwyneth, drop your head and see if you can find a hundreds curl in your ribs. Yeah. There you go. Nice. Okay. Allison, what was your question, babe?
For a couple clients I have in my classes or privates with the lower and lift, um, a lot of them struggle with the straightening of their legs. So then I wanted to know if there would be like what you recommend for other than of course the flexibility and building up to that. But I usually do for modifications, it's just like the tabletop and then like the lowering of the legs to pull back up. But I wasn't sure if there'd be anything else that you would recommend to keep
I mean,
up like this part in case
yeah,
in there.
it's a great question. If it's a class, my response is a little different than if it's a private. So if it's a class, if they have the strength to hold their legs lower and do a smaller range of motion, or sometimes if people get their hands underneath their hips, they can get them straighter. So I would put their hands under their hips to get their booty up, and I would have their legs start lower and not lift all the way up. So they would just stay in a smaller range. And that is going to be really hard. But at least they're working their stomach and not their hip flexors. If it's a private session, I would put my hands on their heels and have them push their heels into your hands so that they're like we did with Sally on the single straight leg and get that might activate their legs enough that you can get them straighter. And then I would work through that. When we get to the magic circle prop stuff, you'll see something I do that really does teach that lower lift. And so you could also, for a group class, just use the magic circle instead for those people, because what they need is to get their legs straighter. And that exercise isn't going to make their legs straighter. That exercise is going to challenge what they can do. So it's like, so I understand why you did what you did, and it sort of works, but it's also so easy for it to be hip flexors and back. So I would do the magic circle thing that we'll show you this weekend. I would also do hands under hips, smaller range of motion, so not all the way up. And then I would help them. And then, or a private, I would omit it until I know they can get their straight legs. I'd work the single straight leg stretch first and just really help them get straight legs. So their hamstrings can be tight because they're weak. So we got to strengthen that. Yeah. Yeah. Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cordelia, did I get your question earlier? Did I skip over you? We did it. Okay, great. Okay. Vicky said, I can tell that the tail plant is working on old scar tissue there. Yeah. Yeah. Your body wants to just keep going forward, and I want you to go forward and pull up, right? So yeah, and you can do it. It's just not easy. Yeah. Yeah. What else? Any other questions from those exercises?
I had one that was kind of connected to what we were just talking about. Allison was talking about. Sometimes when people struggle with flexion, I get them to modify that. When the both legs lift and lower, I get them to like put their head down, and as you said, put your hands underneath your hips, right? And I find it just helps them to like kind of get that exercise, because I find that one is the hardest, at least for my clients, to like do without arching their back. So I just wanted your thoughts on like using that as a modification.
Yeah, so I'll show you some stuff with a squishy ball or a bolster. And then when we also get to the barrels, you're going to see how you can use a barrel to help them find the curl up. And then you can change the range of motion with the legs. I personally think if their head is down and their hands are underneath their hips, it's like, are we doing this because why are we doing this? Do they need this? Is it really helping them? Are they not ready for it? Do I need to teach them other things to get them ready for this? So obviously, if they join a group class and they tell me they have neck issues, I'm going to give them the opportunity to leave their head down, put their hands under their sacrum and move, because it's a group class. It cannot be tailored to them. I can create themes for it and I can help people, but at the same time, like that, those people also need to come for a private to get their true modifications, which might be that when we do that exercise, they're actually doing double leg stretch and working on using their arms to help them flex, taking a moment to hold on to it and bring it back. Like they might have to do that instead and learn the flexion that we need, and then we add it later. Just because it's part of the ab series doesn't mean you learn it. And I wanted to say that the single straight leg stretch, double straight leg stretch, and crisscross are from Romana. So Jay does them. Jay taught them. They're part of the way Jay teaches because he taught in Romana's studio. but he did not learn them from Joe. And the reason he liked them is that they really help with control balance. They really help with elephant up stretch, right? If you do the crisscross correctly, not like a fitness bicycle, but like as a Pilates crisscross, it really helps with saw. It helps with snake and twist. So like Jay really felt like either Joe didn't teach it to him or Ramana made it up because Ramana was really big on the dancers having their tummies tight. And I hate to say that, but that's really why they came from. So also like Joe gave us the single leg stretch and the double leg stretch. That was like in all of his work in a lot of the pictures. So what I would also give you permission on is you can just omit them if they're not really ready for it. Yeah. But I do think that the magic circle thing will do might be the thing that you use instead to build them up and just make sure, we'll talk about this with props, that you check in with them every once in a while to see if they still need it. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Melanie.
Yeah, and the double straight leg stretch, I've noticed people like to really like hike their hips up, like lift their tailbone. So what are
Mm.
they just kind of using their hip flexors to just like hurl their legs back up? I try and cue like a really heavy tailbone, keep the hips down.
Yeah. So they're probably swinging is what they're doing. So they're using like momentum. And I just want to say like momentum isn't a bad thing. The more advanced you are in Pilates, the more you actually use momentum to your advantage. But when you're a beginner intermediate, sometimes the momentum is keeping you from progressing. So it's probably that. The keep the tailbone down cue is difficult because it doesn't really keep is a really interesting word. It's often used when we're actually wanting them to put their tailbone down. So we say keep when their tailbone is not down. And it's just so I actually try not to use the word keep. It will slip out because I'll like absorb it from you guys and then it will come into but like what I would say is if it's a class, put their legs where you want them and then ask them what they feel on the mat. And then say, okay, lower the leg and lift back up to what you just felt. Oh, some of you lost it. Some of you lifted. You know what I mean? And so the other thing is like I used to have a trainer who would come up and put his hands where my feet couldn't go past, right? He was throwing my legs. So I would lift my legs up and he'd throw them down, but you could take your hand, just go over. You can't do all three people, but you could do one person and go up too far, too far, right? And so, because really the words, they're hearing you, they don't get it.
Yeah.
So most people are kinesthetic or visual in this case. So like use what their feet, like you put them in the place you want and then ask them what they feel.
Okay.
Right. And because sometimes you'll say tailbone heavy and people stick their butt out. So my dog is putting his head in a cactus. That's great. That's wonderful. Okay. We'll figure that out later. Yeah. Okay. So, is that helpful? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. Any questions about spine stretch forward? Kimberly and Robert, did you try the single straight leg stretch, pushing down and picking up? Did you guys try it? Yeah. How'd it go?
Hit the wrong thing.
There you go. We hear
There
you.
we go. It was hard for me to get my head to do that. It took me a few to figure that one out.
Like your head went away with your body.
Yes.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's information about how you're curling up.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
So the noggin is going to have to be worked on. I figured that part out.
Yeah.
And I watched 20 of your tutorials and tried it on a couple of my clients this week, and it worked really well. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. That's special. Great. Okay. Hello, Jamila. Okay, so what I want to do now is you guys are gonna, whoever wants to, I know it's late in Europe, but I want us to do the mat work again. I'm not doing it with you because I get to do it again with the PM group. So I'm gonna sit here and watch you, but we're gonna see like now that you have been moving for a few hours, now that it's your second time through all of them, but like a third or fourth time through on some of these other ones, like what does your body remember? And specifically, what I want you to focus on is again, you're not performing for me, right? Just because I'm watching, you're not performing for me. But like, what are you struggling with? Because we're going to talk about that at the end. And you might tell me all 30 something exercises. No, that's not even an option. Like there are some exercises you'll do well. Yes, Sally, ugly Pilates is allowed always, 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 always. Welcome to the eLevate Club where we do ugly Pilates and we love it. And like when you get it, we're like celebrate even more, but like really it's about the practice. So if you are not gonna move and you're gonna watch, please go camera off so we can spotlight the movers for the replay. If you are but if you're all gonna move, that's great. We can have you all move. So Heather, we can I'll turn my personal camera off and but we'll keep the mat on for Sally. All right. All right, loves. So you're going to start standing if you're going to move. And if you don't like my pace, skip an exercise and take your time. Find your own rhythm, okay? But I'm going to try to keep the rhythm what the exercise is so you know what you're trying to get to, okay? All right, standing at the top of your mat. Cross one arm over the other if you can. Cross one leg over the other. And lower yourself down. Don't worry, Kimberly, you'll join us. I know you're like taking all the sweaters off. Yeah, and then just notice how you got down. Did it feel like a fall? And then lower all the way down to your back. Squeeze your legs together, 100. Arms overhead. And exhale to come up and go into it. So you're inhaling for 5, you're exhaling for 5. And I'm going to let you be in your body. And then one more cycle of breathing. Lower everything down. Lift your arms up. Flex your ankles. Roll up. If you have a strap, you'll use it. If not, don't worry about it. If you have a dowel, you'll use it. Pulse 3 times at the top and roll back. We'll do 3 to 4 roll-ups. I like to inhale at the start of my curl up and exhale at the hardest part. And then inhale to go down. Yeah. After your next roll up, if you have handles, use them. If you don't, you'll use the sides of your mat. You'll just put your arms down for your rollover. If you're not doing rollover, you're doing roll up again. So 2 in each direction. Point the toes to go over, open the legs. Roll it down, circle around. Go ahead and go at your own pace. Open, flex for the stretch. And then when you go over with pointed feet. Flex to squeeze them together, point to roll down. The pointed feet over helps you lengthen the front of your thighs. And then single leg circles, way to go into it. One leg is up. I love it. Some of you already remembered. Way to go. 3 circles each direction. Switch the legs and then come up for rolling like a ball. And then do 3 to 4 rolling like a balls if you're there. There's no race. And then from rolling like a ball, Cordelia, just take a second because everyone's joining you. Just breathe and then we'll go into single leg stretch. Awesome. Okay, go into single leg stretch when you're ready. Pull, pull, switch. 3 on each side. And then double leg stretch 3. And then all ab series if you're doing them, 3 of each. Push that leg into your hand, Dan. Yes. Gwyneth, when you bend your knees, your feet are dropping first. Try to keep them on the same. Imagine there's like a ring of fire out there and you're like a magic circle and you reach your leg into it. And now bend. Yes, ma'am. There you go. There you go. Yep. Single straight leg, double straight leg, crisscross. And then you'll come up for your spine, stretch forward. Up a little higher, Miranda. You're a little bit leaned back. Yeah. Bend that spine, babe. There you go. After spine stretch forward, you'll do 3 of those. You'll go into open leg rocker. So Sally's got to move faster. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Spine stretch forward. 3, open leg rocker. 3. Cordelia, sit up taller. Go do that spine stretch forward again. Sit up taller. Yeah, now round forward. And then roll up into sitting tall. There you go. Yes, you went kind of back before. Okay, now you can go into your open leg rocker. Remember, open leg rocker, you have your legs apart for 3. Then you're gonna open, close 3 times. Then you're gonna try to grab your toes and rock back 3 times. And Robert is killing it because he's already on corkscrew. Way to know the order, Robert. Love it. Yeah, totally fine if you're going ahead. If you know the order, you can. That's it, Allison. Yep. So you, Sally, you're on open leg rocker. Then don't worry, I haven't told anyone past open leg rocker. Okay. Okay. No, I don't think that's good. I think you should try corkscrew with the handles. So corkscrew, you guys, with the hips down. You get to watch it on the replay. After corkscrew, it's saw. That's okay. That's okay. After corkscrew, it's saw. 2 to 3 each side. And then it's swan. And you can decide to do swan prep or swan dive. Cordelia, do that. Put your hands underneath your shoulders to start. Right there. Now shoot your arms wide to go out. Push up. Yep. But shoot them when you, so push up. Now shoot them wide. Arms go wide when you drop. Wide. There you go. All right. After swan, you have single leg kick. Then you have double leg kick. Single leg kick is propped up on your forearms a little bit more, Gwyneth. Elbows under your shoulders. There you go, babe. Miranda, put your hands higher up on your back. Vicky, I like what you're doing with your arms. Allison, a bit more chest forward than up. Sally, eyes up. That's it. Going to look forward and then drop your head when you go to the side. There you go. After double leg kick, you have your counter stretch and you do your thigh stretch. 3 kicks, Sally. 1, 2, 3. And then feet down, lift. There you go, babe. All right. Arms up. Cordelia, lift your arms up. And then, yep, now lower your arms to lean back. Lower your arms to lean back, Cordelia. Arms go down. Yes. There you go. You'll like it more. There you go. Nice. Gwyneth, when you come up in your thigh stretch, pull your stomach back more because you're pushing your lower back forward. So lift up, keep lifting up, pull your stomach back. There you go, babe. That's it. Okay. Neck pull. 2 to 3 of those. If you have a strap, use it. If you don't, you can just do the best you can. Hands behind your head, roll up on the exhale, round forward, Miranda, more. You're a little more flat back than I want. Round, 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 round. Lift your lower. Yes, there you go. That's it, Gwyneth. Yep. Yes, Vicky. Flex, flex, flex. Do you have a strap, Vicky, that you're not using? You got it? Okay, okay, that's fine. Yes, after 3, you would do high scissors and high bicycle if it's in your practice. If it's not in your practice, go into your shoulder bridge. Cordelia, legs up to the ceiling. So everyone doing high scissors, legs up to the ceiling. One leg stays up to the ceiling, one leg reaches away. That's it. Bring it back up. Then reach. Oh, don't do the splits on me. Yeah, there you go. Stay on the ceiling. That's it. Then go into your bicycle. Kimberly, the top leg doesn't come over your face. It goes up to the sky. And then one leg goes away from you. But yes, but don't let the leg come over your face. There you go. Bicycle away. I like what I'm seeing. Good job. Okay, I can't wait to go over these tomorrow. All right, shoulder bridge. Shoulder bridge. All right, so 3 on each side. One leg goes up. And then point it up, flex it down. Point it up, flex it down. It's okay. Get your hips a little higher, Sally. Amazing. Good job. Okay, after that, you guys have spine twist. Sit up tall, legs together, arms wide to the side, twist to the right. Twist to the right, legs together. Miranda, there you go. Hold it, twist a little bit more, twist a little bit more, unwind. Twist left, twist a little bit more, twist a little bit more, unwind. Kimberly, arms in your peripheral vision is going to feel better. There you go. Squeeze your legs, lift your chest. Yes, squeeze your legs all the way together, Sally. All the way together. Yes. Yes. Okay. Jackknife if you're doing it. Arms and hands into your handles or down by your side. Legs go over, up. Over, up. With zest, Dan. With zest. Faster. Yes. Miranda, good job catching your momentum there. And then roll your spine down slowly. Allison, that was so fast over, but slow down, Allison. Slow. Toes over your eyes. Toes over your eyes. They don't have to be that far forward. Yeah. Yep. Okay. After these, we're doing our side kicks. Let's just do our front back today. So lie on one side and go front back. So feet on your moon boxes, so they're off your mat. And if you don't have moon boxes, bring them forward. Vicky, if it's okay with your shoulder, if you can come down onto your elbow with your hand on your head. Yes. But like you can be propped up. It doesn't have to be on your bicep. Yes, that's it, ma'am. There you go. Hi, Bayonne. You're helping her get out of this. That's not fair. That's not fair to the others. Oh yeah, Sally, you too. So everyone, we're not on our forearm, we're on our elbow. Yes, yes. Kick to the front, kick it to the back, kick to the front, and then switch legs. Yeah, so then you flip over. You can actually flip over the other. Yeah, you can move the moon box, or you could just flip over. Yep. Okay, after your side kicks, front back, it's teaser time. So you lie on your back, squeeze your legs together. Miranda, get your legs a little lower so the toes are in line with your eyes. Yes. Now lift your arms up and lower your upper body down 3 times. Legs stay, upper body goes up and down. That's it, Vicky. See if you can keep your legs there. Ooh, I like that. So Vicky, you can roll like a ball into teaser. Try that. So go into rolling like a ball and make sure you do your teaser too, like Cordelia is, legs lower and lift. Yeah, so roll back, Vicky, like a rolling like a ball, and then come up and reach your arms and legs forward. Yeah, roll back and then roll up, reach. Roll up, reach. There you go, babe. Yes. And then if you haven't done teaser 3, that's on you, right? It's okay. After the teaser 3, we'll go onto your stomachs for swimming. Swimming. Yep, arms up. There you go. Let's get your tailbones a little longer, everyone. So it's going to feel like you're pushing your puke bone down. And then sit back, child's pose or Joe's pose, big stretch. All right, come out into a plank, leg pull. So you're in plank, lift one leg, rock back, forward, switch. Rock back, forward, switch. When the leg goes up, the hips do not. And it's just one back, one forward, switch. One back, one forward, switch. Yeah. Awesome. Fancy transition time or just flip over? If you don't know it, we'll teach it tomorrow. So just flip over. Yep. And then tailbone reaches and kick. And kick. Turn your hands in, Sally. There you go. Lift your hips. There you go. Awesome. Kneeling side kicks is next. Yeah, good news. If you only did want to do one rep, you only did one. So you're on your knees, Sally. There you go. And then tip over, hand in line with shoulder. Cordelia, move your hand a little closer to your knee, babe. There you go. And lift your top leg up. Yep. And then Sally, you too, bring your hand closer to your knee. Yes. There you go. And then just do front back today. Front back. Three each direction. And then switch sides. Good. And then up and over to the other side. Yep. Miranda, get your hip over your knee, babe. Hip over your knee. Yes. Allison, you too. You're kind of leaning your booty back. All right, side bend. Right, side bend or mermaid. I didn't teach mermaid today, but if you know it, you want to do that instead, that's fine. Hand in line with feet, so double check. Top foot can be forward if you want to make it a little easier. Only make sure you're not too tight of a bent knee. And then lift up. And then bend your knees and come down. And lift up. And bend your knees and that's it, Gwyneth. Way to go. And if you want to do the straight legs, lower lift, you can one time, but not important. Most of you are still working on getting up. All right, switch sides. So just kick the legs over. Oh, we missed hip circles. Lucky you guys. You guys scored on that. Don't think the afternoon people are going to miss it because now I remembered. I'm sure Christine and Heather and everyone watching were like, she missed that. It happens. Oh, you don't have to do the hip circles now, but Kimberly and Robert, they're going for extra credit. They're doing it. Well, okay. So now after side bend, we have boomerang. If you're not doing boomerang, you move into seal early. Boomerang is straight legs, cross them in front of you, round over your legs, and then lift your legs to knock you over. Lift your legs, and then scissor switch. And then roll up, arms behind you, reach your arms behind you, slow your roll, and then hands go down and go right in the next one. And legs over. That was fun. That was fun, Sally. Come back up. Come back up, Sally. All right, squeeze your legs together. Squeeze them together. Cross one leg, sorry. Rock back. Go for it. Switch the cross. Okay, roll up and reach your arms back. So, nope, roll up. Roll your head up. Roll your head up and roll your body down. Keep going. Reach your arms behind you. Reach them behind you. There you go. Yes. Okay. All right. That's enough for those. So she got one in. Here we go. Seal. Dive your hands in. I'm only making fun of her because she is making fun of her. Okay. Beat 3 times. Rock back. Beat 3 times. Dan, make it more about your thigh bones, babe. Open the legs, close the legs. Open the legs, close the legs. Yes. Yes. Okay, crab. Cross your ankles. If you're not running onto your head, that's fine, but you do the second half of crab. Get your hips over those knees, Dan, if you can. Switch. Yeah, do seal again. That's perfect. Yep. Okay, that's enough. We have to work on that, guys. Okay. Lie on your stomachs for rocking. It's okay. We didn't cover crap much today, so we'll do that tomorrow. Lie on your stomachs. Grab what you can. If you can't do rocking, you do anything we did on your stomach. Push your feet into your hand. Lift your head up. Yes. And then use your legs. That's it, Gwyneth. Way to use your legs. More legs, Miranda. Yes, ma'am. There you go. Nice, Melanie. Hug your knees together a little bit more, Melanie. Yes. Okay, sit back, child's pose. Last two exercises. You guys are almost there. All right. So flip onto your back, control balance, or a single straight leg stretch. Yes. And then you reach your hands around and grab your leg. Yes. And you lift the other leg up, not forward. So touch my ceiling. There you go. And then switch. That's it, Cordelia. Yes. Yes. I like what I'm seeing. I like how we've got people doing single leg stretch. Getting there, Miranda. I see what's going on. Okay, roll up to standing, everyone. Roll up to standing. Yes, there we go. All right. Pretty close. Turn around at the top of your mat. Arms up. Okay, circle the arms out to the side. Place them in front of your feet. Look through your legs. Walk out. 1, 2, 3. Look through your legs. Good. No one did it. All right. Bend your elbows one time. All right. Look at your feet and walk your hands back. That's it, Miranda. Look at your feet. Look at your feet. Look at your feet. Now, arms by your ears as you roll up. Arms. Yeah, that's it. Good save. All right. Oh, Sally didn't do it. All right. Arms up. Circle the arms around. Walk out. Oh, you have 2 more. Look, 2 more chances to trust you're not going to fall on your head if you look through your legs. 2 push-ups. Elbows back. And then head in and walk your hands back, back, back. And lift. And arms up, Sally, arms up. This way. Yes. All right, circle around and around forward. Last one. This is it. You're going to do it. You're going to all leave your arms by your ears. 3 push-ups. And then head in and walk your hands back. And your arms stay by your ears and you roll up with your arms by your ears the whole time. Yes. Thank you. So much better. Way to go. All right. The whole AM crew can come on camera now. Heather, I missed hip circles. They got so lucky. It was a little bit of a hot mess of teasers, to be honest. No one should be doing them right now. Well, it's okay. Well, we have room to improve, guys. That's the beauty of this practice. Okay, so what I want you to do really quickly before you forget anything is I want you to write down the exercises that were like, holy, what the fuck? And like really like also ones that felt possible but a challenge. So just take some time to write them down in your notes. I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes so you can really, and if you don't remember the names, write down what you remember, right? Or look at your notes. And then once you've written them down, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to write down what you think the spine shapes are of each of those exercises. So remember you have 5: round, flexion, extension, tall, side bend, twist. Just write down whatever spine shapes you think they are. If you think there's multiple spine shapes, that you can't be wrong. So write them down. I'm going to give you guys like 3 minutes to do that. I am going to take a adult break. Okay. So now, hopefully, in your list, you can see repetition of spine shapes. So, who would like to share how that second class felt and also like what they're seeing in observation of their own practice? Like, so, what exercise you're struggling with or what spine shapes you're struggling with. Melanie.
I just in my body really struggle with connecting into my like glute hamstring. So like that talking about the ab series or single leg stretch and double leg stretch with turning that hamstring on and kind of pushing just totally changed everything about it. Like that's so interesting to turn that on rather than just kind of like extending through the knee and yeah, so that was really interesting. And I also struggle with like open leg rocker, I think, because I don't, sorry, something's loud. I don't connect into my back of my leg very well.
I love the observation. That's exactly it. And I think that's great that you were able to apply that so quickly from the breakdown to the class. The more you get that, it'll change your open leg rocker.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to work on it.
What else? What else wants to go? Gwyneth.
I was just noticing that like the second time we did it, I felt so much more like definitely connected, but also just able to do like my body felt a lot more able. Like in 100s, I was able to lower my legs a lot more. My flexion felt a lot better. I am noticing the exercises that I struggled with were all flexion exercises like crab, and control balance. And I find neck pull difficult as well. I didn't have a strap, which is also, I mean, but neck pull I find just the going back, I mean, always the hardest part. And then boomerang because it's confusing and so definitely flexion, which I find really interesting, was kind of a theme.
I see a theme in that, and I see a little theme in overhead flexion. So the balance of it. Yeah.
Yes,
So
100%.
this weekend, let's make sure I get to see you're rolling like a ball. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I like it. Thank you for sharing. Who else? Kimberly is unmuted. Kimberly and Robert, what we got?
Hi, scissors. Hi, bikes. I think I can do a little bit of high shoulder bridge and then hip circles. I feel like my arms are way too long in hip circles, and I don't know. It's like, could I just like have a hand here instead of this whole hand? My arms tend to bend. I don't know. It's a
I don't
balance.
think anyone's ever complained about long arms ever in my Pilates career. I think you are the first. In my Pilates career, I've never had anyone say that their arms are too long. So thank you.
That's how it feels. Maybe it's just that my torso's too short. I don't know.
No, but I think when we break down hip circles, let's come back to let's put a pin in that thought, because I actually think it's extension of your shoulder that's the issue and not the length of your arm. But yeah. Yeah. But what else did you notice?
Boomerang, trying to stay in my center is really hard. As I'm going back, I feel the stretching out. And then some of the little ways you do things are a little bit different than my second teacher training, which is really drilled in my head. So I found I find a little scramble there to kind of like, do things the way you're telling us to do them and just undo that muscle memory a little bit.
I understand that. I understand. My first two trainings were very Ramana based, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also she did change things. And also her stuff is a bit more dancered. And I really, even though Jay was a very famous dancer and choreographer and producer, like I love that he honored Joe's version, so that because it's for a human, Yes. So it's really okay. Don't be hard on yourself if you do the other variation, but it's fun to explore which one makes you feel more connected, because you just have more variations. And this goes for the people who've been trained contemporarily or whatever. I'm not asking you to fully jump
Yeah.
ship on that stuff and this is what it is.
Yeah.
You just add it to your toolbox of what
Yeah.
you know. But the more you explore it here, then it really helps you understand when do you want to use which option.
And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, cool. I love it. You said something that made me we'll get back to it. We're gonna look at your high season high bicycle tomorrow because I think a lot of people, and then I just want to say like some of those exercises, notice how they're all towards the end, guys. So the order is really cool. It really sets us up for what's to come. And what's at the end is really like almost combos of things from the beginning. So if you're struggling with things towards the end, one, it could be you're tired. Like it's the end of the workout. And we still have to build up your stamina. Or it could be that the like if we pull out some of the other exercises that are in there and we go, oh, you struggle with that too. Well, no wonder. So let's be nice to ourselves and go work on that thing. Yeah. Vicky.
Thank you. I struggle with a lot of this. Just disclaimer here, this week I've had norovirus and I had the ads that won't even let me sneeze. And so I really struggled today. But I know this from other training and from working out and also from today. High scissors, high bicycle, and shoulder bridge are an absolute no because my arms are so long that when I sit on the chair, my wrist is below my arse. That is how long they are. So, Kimberly, I
You and
feel ya.
Kimberly get to hang out with the thing. Here's
Yeah,
what I'm going to
so
say. I don't think that
I've
they're a
never
never.
been able to do that.
I don't think they're a never. I don't think that they're in your practice today because I think we actually need to get more length in your center so that your long, amazing arms help you find length as opposed to being a resting position you can't find. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're using your hands to rest, then they're going to feel like they're too long. If you're using them to lift, then they're going to feel like the best friend you always wanted. But right now, based on your rolling like a ball that I saw, I would skip them and focus on rolling like a ball and shoulder bridge
Uh-huh.
and single leg kicks. Like I want to, so I would just say like, it's not that we don't even try them, but like you can for like the next few weeks, just like, and in their place, practice one of the other exercises where it's a challenge for you to do it. And also so it's a repeat, but you get to see how the more warm you are, the better you get at it. And then and then give yourself like, okay, on this date, I'm going to check in with that on this date. And it might take us a year, Vicky. It might take us 3 years. I stopped doing headstands for 4 years. I just stopped because I felt like on the reformer, because I felt like it's supposed to be on 2 springs. I couldn't do it on 2 without being in my neck. I would do it on 1. I just felt like I was going to fall off. And so I just stopped and I did all my other practice all the time. And then last summer, I told my teacher, I really want to bring him back. I can do a headstand on the floor. So why can't I do it here? And guess what? I'm sure I probably could have done a year before. I just didn't check in soon enough, but went right up, did it on 2 springs, no problems. So like all this to say, like maybe your arms are too long, but I think we actually just have to get more length and stability in your shoulders. So length in your spine and stability in your shoulders, and then we can try them out. And I'm so sorry you had the norovirus. That sucks so much.
Oh, it
like, it's
did.
so hard to
It
move.
really sucked. And then also like pull, where we're kicking up front. I have never had the knee stability for that, so I just hold it.
I love that.
And boomerang, not today.
Great.
Crab, I found from my prior training, and I think that's a no, probably not ever, in this nearly 62-year-old body. And then rocking is not likely unless I have a double mastectomy. So you may notice on the video, I was just cracking up at myself because I try to roll and I hit front and I stop. It's just like boom, boom, boom. So probably not.
What do we think, Heather? What do we think? We think it's a no ever?
It's not a never, Vicky. It is not a never. It is maybe a not today, but I will tell you, you will get there. Trust me.
Yeah. I try it. So that's
I
all I
love,
can
here's the
do.
thing. I saw you try it and I didn't hate it. What I didn't hate it at all. I saw you got into it and I was like, you need more legs. You need more strength in your legs. The
Okay.
rocking is a leg exercise. And so what I will say is every single thing you brought up is that towards the end stuff that we need stamina and strength for. So we just gotta get there. And I would just be really kind to yourself. 62 is so young, girl. You're only 20 years older than me. So no, not old at all. Um, and you'd be surprised what opens up. Now, maybe it takes longer than like
Right.
Gwyneth, but none of us are Gen Z, right? So except for Gwyneth and Miranda, they're like, they have youth on their side. And so here's the problem though, they can have bad habits because their body can do it. Whereas those of us who are on the other side of our 30s, we can't have bad habits. We actually have to do things correctly. Otherwise, it doesn't feel awesome. And for them, they can easily make bad habits. And so luckily for them, they're here and they're going to have a career in Pilates that we all could dream of. And the rest of us mere mortals are going to have to focus on what we have to build up to. But I actually saw, Vicky, so much potential in your body. And I think the more you do what is possible, and then we connect. And I think when the props come in, you're going to see some fun ways to get some stuff in. Even if your mat practice is 8 exercises, it's going to be the strongest 8 exercises. And then it's going to be 10. And what's really cool about this practice, and the mat especially, so I did the mat work every day for 90 days without missing. Literally, I did it in airports, I did everywhere, 90 days. And there are exercises: side bend, leg pull front, grab, boomerang, like all the ones you're talking about. Rocking, I could get up to, but I'm so flexible, I would just get stuck. And I don't even have boobs, just blame it on. I was just stuck. Like I had to either hold the position or repeat something else. And after 90 days, all of a sudden I could lift my leg and leg pull from my stomach 1 inch. Right? Like, and it came. So what's really cool, you guys, is if you guys make a priority your mat practice, even if it's just the first 10 exercises, if you make that a priority 5, 6 days a week during this mat section, I promise you the reformer is going to feel like a dream and you're going to have more. What happens though, what I see is people find the mat hard. They get obsessed with teaching other people, but not doing it. And then we get to the reformer and now we're frustrated. We don't want that. I want you, so even if your version of practicing the mat is 8 exercises, I want you to be obsessed with those 8 and not think of it as I only can do 8. It's like I get to do these 8 really well. And then we check in. Okay. And I really appreciate you sharing that, Vicki. Like, I think it's really, I think we all are going to have exercises that we are just going to find like super hard. Some of them are going to be the same. If you heard Miranda and Gwyneth and you have some of the same exercises you struggle with. So like, it's also just a connection thing that we have to build up to. Yeah. Yeah. And you can blame if you have big boobs, you can blame your big boobs as much as you want. I'm going to tell you, they're not the problem. They are an obstacle, but they are not the problem. And they're gonna look lifted and more forward as we get stronger. So there you go. Okay. Anyone else want to share where their aha moments or what exercise they struggled?
Oh, I'll share.
Sally, go.
Mostly just that if there were ever like um, like where you want to pop the balloon in case you were going to be embarrassed about exercising in front of other people. Well, we did that today for me. So that hump is over. And I think part of what I realized is that some of this is just generally lack of familiarity with the exercises. I just don't know them. We would do them once or twice in our initial thing, and then you kind of differ from doing them, sort of like you said. And the ones that I thought I knew, where I thought even where I'm good in extension, there's places I need to extend, not so much in my lumbar, but in my upper back. And I'm not doing that right now. How do I connect there? So for me, that was exciting-ish, as exciting as it is when you become aware that there's new behaviors you need to change. So it's sort of one of those moments, but also I'm glad. First step of growth.
I love that. Thanks. It's fun, right? And also, you guys are all in this together. You have this whole family. They're in this group. there's 13 of you. So like you have your partner who you're going to practice this with, and you guys are going to, help each other. But also you have everyone else. And so like Vicky and Kim with your two long arms, I highly recommend you play together. You know what I mean? And like, and like those of you who like had the hip clicks and the lack of fast, like you guys like share what's working, like you there. So the goal of this is that like you all got to see different bodies do it, and several things could be true, right? There can be several right hundreds and they could all look different. And because it's all about the body that we're looking at and how connected they are. And so there isn't a gold star if you're someone who can do all these exercises well. You, the person who can do them well, get to find more out of them. But we are always working towards getting these exercises. And here's the thing, if you don't use them, you lose them, right? So like even myself with this mat practice, like if I don't do it for a few weeks, I can promise you it sucks when I come back. And I have to like bad habits come back real quickly and asymmetries come back real quickly. And so it's we get to do this for the rest of our lives as long as we get to move. And it will change. Some exercises will eliminate from our practice as we get older. Not because someone said once you hit 62, you can't do extension or whatever, but because it just doesn't feel good anymore. Right? And there'll be other exercises open up. Anyone else? Robert.
My nemesis is all the rolling exercises.
Yeah.
And but the first round we did, it was tough. For the second round, I tried them, and they felt a little bit better. So
Great. Yeah, the rolling ones are hard because you have to learn how to be a kid again.
Yeah.
Right? Because we tend to, as adults, overthink and we're like, okay, the head has to go. Okay, well, the chest has to go. Well, and we tend to go away from our lower body when really we need to bring our lower body with us. So it's hard.
And I'm not going to use the excuse that I have a long waist.
You have more to roll on. I can't wait to see all the more unique excuses that come out of this group. It's going to be hilarious. Okay. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to take a look at the order before you guys go to bed or go off with your day. And I want you just to highlight the exercises that like feel like are probably a no-go for you, and you're going to replace them and what you're going to replace them with. And then the exercises that are still like, there's an in between. They're not easy, but you kind of can figure them out badly. And I want you to make a note of those. Because I want to talk about those ones, because those are going to be the ones that we can help you work on. These ones that like just feel like they're outside of your body for the rest of your life, we don't need to put those down. We don't need to have those as our goal, because those will get better. Those are actually, we're never going to get. Those are like a check-in. Those are a barometer check. But the ones in the middle, the ones that are a challenge and a hot mess, you feel like you should be able to do them. Those are the ones that I want us to focus on for this mat section. And really the rest, like not the rest of our time together, but kind of the rest of our time together, because those are the ones we're going to keep using other tools to help you with. So for example, if boomerang just feels like not in this lifetime, high six, high bicycle feel like not in this lifetime, you're just going to like, not, don't worry about them. Just like put them away, write down what you're going to replace them with. And if you don't know, ask me and we'll talk about it as a group. But if you're like, well, I can get into rocking, but I felt like fall on my face, or I can do a teaser, but I feel like I'm arching my back. Those are the ones that I want you to make note of, because then what we're going to do tomorrow and Sunday with your partners and with this group is like actually go, okay, so what exercises are in this order that would make this better? What props, when we go over those, would help with those? And then we're going to have this group, and it will hopefully be 5 or 6 exercises. Please don't give yourself 12, 5 or 6. And we'll, those will be like what your guys' partner focuses their assessment around. Those will be like how you kind of use like props. Those will be what you're really focused on working on this mat section for now. And they might stay with us the whole 9 months. Vicky asked, what about replacing high scissors and bicycle and bridge with same legs but arse down? Okay, so what I would replace them with, I really like single straight leg stretch for and double straight leg stretch for high scissors because it's the back of the leg, moving the legs away from the body. And it will really teach that. Plus, you're working the arm back connection, which you need to be on your shoulder. So I love that. I would also say if you're not doing, you don't have to put your hands under you for shoulder bridge. You could still do shoulder bridge with your arms down, right? So I would keep shoulder bridge in, but just lift the hips up only and lower the hips down. If that's a not option, then for high bicycle and shoulder bridge, I'd flip onto your stomach and repeat single leg kick and double leg kick. Right? Because that's going to strengthen the back of the leg while stretching the front of the leg. It's also building up upper back strength to stand on for the high scissors, high bicycle, shoulder bridge. Okay? So that was single straight leg stretch, double straight leg stretch, single leg kick, double leg kick. By the way, I love those 4 exercises. I think that they can teach a lot of things. So if you're ever stumped for what to do, just use those. There's others, but like I love them. Yeah. Okay. So before you forget this day, before you move on to the next thing, take some time, look at the order. And by the way, if you're like, well, let's say my list is 12 exercises. I bet you tomorrow we narrow it down because you're going to start to go, actually, like it's corkscrew and single leg circles. So maybe it's single leg circles, right? Oh, it's this and it's this. And that's kind of like, it might be like that. It's seal and it's rolling like a ball. So maybe we focus on rolling like a ball. Yeah. Okay. Next thing that I want to talk about just really briefly is, we talked about 5 spine shapes and I mentioned, like an arm back connection and a fast connection. And we'll dive into those connections more as we work together. But your arm back connection is really key. So it is, okay, so you have to think that your arms actually start way down here. My arms are up, but if I just use my shoulders to move, nothing happens to my spine. My shoulder just moves. But if my arms are next to my back, and I lift up from there, do you see how my ribs came off my hips, right? So that is when we talk about arm back connection, your arms, when they move, should help you feel longer, taller, stronger, more stable. The arms do not lift up for no reason. They do not go out to the side for no reason. They don't circle around for no reason. They're doing that to lengthen or strengthen. Yeah. Whenever we pull with the arms, they're never just decorative. Like whenever I see someone grab their leg and it's like soft hands, it is to connect that arm to the back. Right. So you want to think about that. Shoulders down is not the same as an arm back connection. If you see shoulders are here, it's a sign that they are not connected to their back. But it doesn't mean it's down. Because it could be scaption that they need, it could be breath that they need, it could be a lot of things. So I want you to kind of think about that as we go. Whenever you hear about a 2-way stretch in Pilates, they're talking about the up reach, which is the arm back connection, and the down reach, which is what I call your fast connection. And the fast is all the muscles around your thigh that don't include your hip flexors. So that's glutes, inner thighs, hamstrings, outer hips, right? So, and the reason for that is your hip flexors are really strong. There are sometimes when I have people with weak hip flexors, but most of the time they're just doing their thing and they're working really hard. So we have to strengthen that. And that's what we talked a lot about today with Miranda and Sally and Melanie about really turning on the back of that leg, right? And so we will go into more exercises that will help that with the magic circle this weekend. But whenever you think about the legs reaching, when people reach their legs, what do? They often overpoint the ankles and they hyperextend the knee. And so then that down reach gets cut off right at that joint and we lose it. And so the legs, Jay would always say your legs are way up here. So in that double straight leg stretch, everyone's like, well, how low do the legs go? So my back doesn't arch. Well, if your legs are reaching from here down, then that would keep you from arching the back because you're reaching from here. And so what happens is your arms start down here and your legs start up here. Guess what? When they're reaching, you get space, right? You get that space. And the thing to know is that you guys are going to try to get all of that at the same time. It's impossible. And so what you may realize is that you're like, wow, I really struggle with both my fast and my arm back connection. Well, you got to pick one. You don't try to work on both at the same time. Like, give yourself permission to just go, I'm going to focus on making sure the back of my legs is on in every exercise. Yeah, it's not going to make every exercise magical. You might fall off your shoulders and things, but like, if you're trying to get your shoulders and your legs and your hips in place, what happens is you micromanage yourself and then you torture yourself. So give yourself permission to go, okay, am I going to focus on every time I move my arms around that I feel my back? Am I going to focus on where I'm reaching my legs from? Tell yourself that. If you're working with your partner, tell yourself, I'm really struggling with my arm back connection. I know I'm going to have a crazy stuff going on my legs, but can we just focus on this right now? And that to me a challenge for them to like zip it and not try to whack-a-mole with correcting you, right? So those are two things. We'll dive deeper as we go, but I just want to get that in your head. I don't want to overwhelm you. 4 hours is a lot, right? We just did a lot of things. So now I want to say this, you're amazing. And these first 4 hours can overwhelm you. They can excite you. You could feel like you're not good enough and you can feel like you know it all already. Like there can be all these different things happening. And I just want to say that like after I was already excited to work with all of you. I read all of your applications. I chose every single one of you here. And this group, you guys are so fabulous. There are people here who can do things that other people can't do, and they're going to help teach that. And there are people here who can do things that other people can't do, and they're going to teach that. And we've got a wide range of ages and bodies in here. And that means we all get to learn these exercises in a better way. So you each are going to teach each other as much as you teach yourself. And you guys are a family. And so what I really, I know that like this can go either way when we hang up. You can go, I'm so overwhelmed and I'm in the wrong place. Or you could be like, okay, nailed that. So good. There is no grades here and there's no checklist here. It is simply about like, where are you today? And do we grow forward? Right. And so no starting line or finish line, none of that. So please be kind to yourself. Please take a moment to write down something you did really, really well today that you're really proud of. And if it's that you showed up and you asked questions, then I would really highlight that and pat yourself on the back. All right. So I'm really proud of all of you. 4 hours is a lot, and we got 2 more days together. Heather, anything else you want to say? Because I know we don't get to have you the rest of the weekend.
I just want to say thank you for having me. It was so awesome to watch all of you move and just kind of feel that excitement again of like day one, hour one, minute one. And also something that who's with you again in person? Sorry, Sally said.
Oh, Sally.
And she said the balloon popping of like people watching me exercise. That resonated with me, but what I would just encourage you all is to realize this is such a safe space and you're building a community now of expertise, everything Leslie just said, to leverage each other. And that's something that eLevate 2, my group, we still do. We're still connected on like bouncing ideas off or seeing shapes and just have fun. Like I'm just looking at all these Brady Bunch faces and thank you for letting me be here today and be part of your first step on this and enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for being here because I definitely think I would have fucked up something multiple times. So I'm so glad you're here. It was really fun. You guys can let us know if you liked having the assistant or not. But if I like them, they stay. But we'll take your feedback under consideration. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. If you're coming back from the PM group, even if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're like, I was gonna do it, but now I'm overwhelmed. I highly recommend your camera off. Even if you just come for an hour, it might help you to just like sit back and watch people struggle with the exact same things you do. Like it might just make you feel really good to see that like other people struggle. And while you guys are not in the Slack channels together to talk with each other, we can always connect with people for like, oh my God, I so resonate with that person. We can always make that connection happen. So absolutely, even if you're coming for an hour or an hour and a half, it actually doesn't bother me when you leave and go because I don't see it because your camera off. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. Okay. So please take care of yourself, drink lots of water, do a hot bath, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And then we'll see you tomorrow. Please don't panic and not show up tomorrow because you think you're not good enough. You're so amazing. Show up tomorrow. We're gonna have a great time. And I just adore you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Heather.